Hello, everybody, and welcome to round 5 of the British Online Championships. It's the Standard Play Championship section, and we have some very nice games for you this evening, starting with no less than Grandmaster Keith Arkle against Grandmaster Michael Adams. This will be a bit of a crowd pleaser. I expect White will try and play as boringly as possible and get to a rook ending. And I don't know how Mickey will respond to that. We will see. Although Keith has also been playing some very interesting games this tournament, so my prediction could be quite wrong. Anyway, board 2 is Robert Starley, who's Ferrari fan, against Bogdan Lalic. I've got Yichin Han against Chris Duncan, and we have Phil Brooks against Paul Dargan, who is otherwise known as Nut Flush or B22 C3 Sicilian.
Indeed.
Which gives away what openings he likes. And also that he plays poker. Anyway, board 5 is Diamond Naught, so Mohammed Ayan Ishmael against Frederick the Mate Gordon, who we saw in that thriller yesterday against Keith Arkle. We have then Schlock Verma against Johnny Payne. And yeah, it should be an exciting one. And we also have Amir Abbas against Gerasimos Skiachos. Then we have Grandmaster Mark Hebden against strong junior player Arjun Kalani, who can be a dangerous opponent. We have Scottish junior Jonathan Mackay against Welsh Jonathan Blackburn.
Welsh online champion, by the way.
Is he Welsh online champion?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Welsh online champion. I should be saying that all the time. Okay, so a battle.
I saw it in my copy of chess today, actually. Wrote a report on the tournament.
Very good. Now, it sounds like some moves are starting. So
okay, go for it.
Okay, and then there's like Checkmate a lot against Theo Cowrie. There's some more games, but I've got them all open, so hopefully we should see them all.
Great stuff.
Let me share that kind of screen. Which then has all the moves, because that's what we want to see. That's what we're here for. We want to see the checks.
We could just talk about them and let people test.
We could talk and then
test the blindfold skill.
What the moves would be.
All right. G3 Bishop A6. So let's have a look. I wonder which line Keith is going to play here. So this is a G3 Queen's Indian. So D4 Knight F6, Knight F3 E6. C4, B6, G3, Bishop A6, and I've played this line a lot with Black. I never liked the main lines. I mean, Mickey actually has played a lot. Has played the old style main lines with Bishop B7 an awful lot in his career, but I never really enjoyed them very much. I always liked just this slightly more provocative line. Nimzovich's invention, in fact, so comes from around the 1920s of Bishop A6 attacking the pawn on C4.
So I guess this will be a bit of a surprise to Keith if Mickey usually puts his bishop on B7.
I think Mickey's played it quite a lot as well, but it's just that in terms of I've always played only Bishop A6, whereas I think Mickey's played a lot broader range of main lines. But this is very, very solid for Black. It's a very solid.
Well, we've had the first check of the game already.
Indeed, yeah. So this is a well-known subtlety. In fact, White would like to, after White plays B3, White's natural thing is to put the bishop on B2 and the knight on D2. So you check the bishop, bring it to D2, and then you go back to E7. And actually, that bishop on D2, it'll take 2 moves to get to B2. It'll go to C3, B2. So actually, the idea is that by losing a tempo, oh, bless you, by losing a tempo, it's not to be sneezed at. So sharp.
You are on form.
Yeah, Black
Grandmaster Matthew Sadler.
Black actually wins the tempo. Now, White's got some interesting ideas. Knight C3 is the sharpest, but Keith's playing very solidly, and I think I've seen Keith doing this, and he plays the same thing that Peter Wells played against me once, which is to go. Oh no, wait a minute! But Mickey's done it slightly differently because I always used to play C6 and then D5, but Mickey's gone D5 immediately. So Keith can actually...
and Keith's done his usual thing of C takes D. He wants E takes D. Oh, and he's got it. Oh, Keith will be happy. He's got his pawn structure.
It's not quite a Carlsbad because the bishop's on G2 and that. But yeah, it is. So yeah, this is quite well known, quite interesting. We'll see what Keith does, because there's quite a famous AlphaZero stockfish game in this line, which we've demonstrated multiple times at chess clubs all around the country. So we'll see whether Keith is going to go for that one.
Which pawn does it use? Is it both of them?
It's the A pawn.
The A pawn. I remember that one. Oh, but aren't we meant to give it up on A6?
We certainly are. That's the game exactly. Do check out our Game Changer website if you want it. I think it's the Rook's Pawn Decoy is what it's called. It's a great game.
Okay, right. Let's have a look at. I'm just trying to find which one's board. Is board 2? We don't have to go strictly in order. Let's just go
first. Let's do it
against Drunken Knight.
Okay,
Sicilian Dragon, exciting.
Dun dun dun. And
Chris Duncan has been playing this, hasn't he? The Dragon, and a few games this tournament.
All his life, all his life. It's the only thing he's ever done. No, it's true. It's really true. So, he's been a Dragon player ever since I remember, which unfortunately is getting to be a rather long time. More than
well, at least you remember. That's pretty good.
Indeed. So G4, which is a move that I've looked at a lot. 9G4. I quite like this move. You don't castle yet. You don't go Bishop C4. You just go G4 and and ask Black some questions. The only problem is that Gawain Jones wrote a rather good 2-volume series on the Dragon, and he dealt with this line pretty impressively, really. So I never really found any big improvements on what he recommended for Black, which I think was Bishop E6 here, looking to play D5. But we'll see what Chris has got prepared. I mean, Knight takes D4 and Bishop E6 is possible, but then White just does a quick H4, H5. I mean, the idea is to, pardon me, to start pushing the kingside pawns before you even castle, so you don't even give Black a target on the queen side, which is quite handy. So, but we'll see. Bishop E6, I think, is actually a good move and perfectly fine for Black. But it is quite complex, and you do need to know the lines. I mean, Gawain's books were quite thorough and detailed. But yeah, you're a Dragon player, right? So that's what you do it for.
Okay, board 2 is actually Robert Starley against Bogdan. I don't think that one started yet. So we'll look at the next one, board 4, which is Phil Brooks against Paul Dargan.
We've had the old Bishop A6 as a bit of a theme today. So Queen C2 Nimzo, very well known, Bishop G5, and then often I've played Bishop B7 an awful lot in my life, but Bishop A6 is also well known. E3, D6, D3, Bishop D3, Knight BD7, and Black's just going to go C5, Rook C8, and D5. That's the basic idea, and claiming that when he goes C5 and Rook C8, the rook's opposite the Queen on the C file. Well, that's a decent claim. It certainly is. And the Bishop on A6 is helping the Rook to attack the pawn on the C4. I mean, I remember that this was when this line was first played, Black got some very good results with it. White was not really getting anything at all. I think that White should be looking for stuff like, should be getting B4 in and then be ready to play B5 at some stage. But the exact, or it's C5, you take you play DC5 and then B5 and block that bishop. But the exact details do escape me a little bit. But a decent line, and can be confusing. And it looks like Phil Brooks is a little bit caught by surprise there, which is obviously always very positive.
Okay, now this is a big battle of the junior players. So there's England junior Mohammed Ismail against Scottish junior Frederick the Mate. So let's see how this has gone.
So Diamond North using the dark arts of move orders here to confuse his opponent. It's probably not a bad thing to do. Not a bad thing to do. I'm not quite sure I don't know what Frederick the Mate plays with Black, but presumably this was done a little bit to avoid. I don't know whether he's a Grunfeld player or something like this. This might well have been played to confuse him there. Castles, castles.
I don't remember. Do you remember what he played against Hebbs?
Oh, the Queen's Gambit declined, actually, so completely different. Yeah, that's true. But knight d4. So this is, yeah, now a very unusual move from Mohammed. I mean, b3 would be quite normal. Followed by
B3,
bishop.
did you say?
B3 here would be very normal. B3, bishop b2, queen d2, rook d1.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. This is very unusual.
Thank you, Hellrace, for the comment. AN is self-taught, so so he kind of makes up. So do you think he doesn't study openings so much, or he doesn't get too much coaching? So he can play quite an interesting creative style.
Lovely. This is quite quite unusual. I mean, in principle, I don't think it's a good plan for White really to take on c6 and go e4. Because you're bringing you know, a pawn to the center. The pawn covers the d5 square, which gives Black's pieces quite a bit of freedom around that. I mean, yeah, queen b6 is, well, queen b6 is a bit slightly strange. Queen b6, because I mean, you're going to get hit by bishop e3. You know, I would have started already with a5. I guess rook b8, knight d7, c5, bishop b6, that sort of thing. Would have started that sort of play straight away. Queen's a little bit odd on b6, but okay, we'll see how that one pans out.
Okay, next we have Schlock Verma against Johnny Payne. So let's see how
what's happened here.
Budapest defense.
Well, not even that. It's the old Fajarowicz, Johnny Payne. Showing a
hi, Freddie fan club.
Freddie fan club. Yeah.
We just looked at his game just a second.
Okay.
But it's still just in the opening phases so far.
A3 is the normal move for White, which is quite strong. No, on move 4. On move 4.
Here.
Yeah, just to stop bishop b4, and then you're going to play queen c2. That's pretty strong, really. But okay, knight f3, d6. Takes. Pretty good system, really, even for long play. It reminds me very much of my England Gambit that I'm playing in Bullet all the time. But yeah, just
can be tricky, can't it? The Budapest.
It can absolutely be. It's a very tricky opening. So and the Fajarowicz is not a bad one because everyone has got a sort of a system against the Budapest. Whereas the Fajarowicz, where you go knight e4 instead of knight g4, it's still less known. It's less good actually, but still, you know, it's you can't have everything, right? I mean, if you're going to confuse the opponent, then you can't expect to have a good position as well. But this is quite decent, you know, and for a one-off game, it's pretty good, you know. So e3, knight c6, now bishop d3 played, and now Johnny Payne quite sharp with the old bishop b4 check, spotting that White's got to play king e2, and then going queen e7.
Right, let me just check that. So if bishop d2, you're taking on d3, and if knight c3, you're just winning a pawn.
Précisément, madame.
But couldn't you go king f1?
Well, you could, but it's the same.
It's just worse. Yeah, okay.
It's the same principle. Yeah, bishop f5 would probably be even stronger there. So queen e7 from Johnny Payne. So just avoiding the old exchange. Now, yeah, his pieces are a little bit. He's wasted a bit of time there, but in principle, this is quite good. So bishop d6, knight bd2, and well, we've got various ideas, but I would expect knight c5, to be honest. And then after bishop c2, I guess we go bishop g4, and we're ready to meet b4 with knight d4 check. Haha.
So here, bishop g4, yeah?
Yeah, and ready to meet b4 with knight d4 check, I believe.
No, not
D4.
that one. This
D4.
one.
Yeah.
That one there. Because there's all sorts of pins. That one's pinned. Yeah. That one's pinned.
Yeah, I'm not sure actually. Not 100. It was a nice trick that attracted me. I'm not 100% sure that it's good. I could also just go a5 as well. You know, I mean, that would also be quite decent.
Yeah.
So, would also be good.
Okay, so that was McCarthy Stone and Schlock Varden. And now we have Youth against experience, we have Mark Hebden against a Tactic Monster 12.
Why are you saying that Tactic Monster is so experienced?
I'm saying he's youth. and Mark is very young at heart.
Very good. So d4 knight f6. So Mark doing this again, not doing his Barry stuff or anything like that, but playing g3. So quite interesting, quite significant for Mark, because I mean Mark's really somebody who's played I think the same systems, you know, all of his life. But he
usually does this knight c3, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's come up with a few. He's obviously, you know, come up with a few things in for during the lockdown. And yeah, I can imagine that's quite now. He would have prepared it seriously, and it will have been quite an investment for him, because he's, as I said, he's one of those players who really sticks to the same thing and tries to always, you know, refine everything that he does. But I think it's a very good idea to, you know, to play differently and swap around a little bit.
Okay, so Ogden takes in the middle here.
Yeah, this is all known, I think. Actually, this is all theory, I think, isn't it? C5. I think B3 is supposed to be not the most accurate, but I'm sure Mark's got some ideas in here. So Bishop B2. So they normally go 7 knight BD2 to protect the C4 pawn, and then they go B3. So I think that this, I think the reason for that is that this is inaccurate. But I'm not. Again, I'm not a big expert on this line, so.
Because White has this isolated C pawn now, so that might cause problems if we get to an end game.
Yeah. On the other hand, the B file is open, so you've got this bishop on G2 pointing across the board. But I think the big problem is that your this knight on D4, bishop B2, they're somewhat tactically loose, and you can see Aryan lining up on that one straight away.
Okay, and so he goes Queen B6. Hitting the both of them.
So Queen B3 played. Then
he doesn't mind an exchange of queens, I guess. I'm sure Hebs wouldn't mind an endgame.
Well, I'm not. Well, you've got to be very careful, because you could just end up losing a piece here if.
Okay.
So knight FD7 was played.
Yeah.
So hitting the pawn, the knight on D4. The problem is if you take on B6, I take back with a knight, and I'm threatening both knight C4 and knight A4, which could actually just win a piece.
Ooh, no.
So he played rook D1, and now knight C6, and I'm just wondering whether this is known theory. It feels suspiciously like.
Yeah, Black's been playing very fast.
Yes, I mean, I'm guessing that the idea is if knight C6, I've got bishop takes B2, and I'm going to pick up the exchange on A1. Let's
just see this then. Is White then perhaps in trouble? So if takes no. Bishop B2.
Yeah, that's the one. And I mean, you can go knight takes C7. I go king H8 or king G7. I'm not sure which. Knight takes C8. I go rook takes C8. And you can take my knight on D7, but then I'll take the bishop. I'll take the rook on A1. And I'm assuming that this is pretty decent for Black. Not 100% sure. I mean, you could go rook B7 here, which might be decent. But I go queen D4. I think something like this. Bishop D5. Maybe this is quite decent. It's possible. It's completely possible. King G7, rook C8. Maybe what you should do. Maybe what you should do is after rook takes D7.
Rook takes
D7.
D7.
Yeah, you should probably have your king on G7 if you're going to do this, but maybe you should just go rook FD8 actually. So just imagine that the king's on G7, you know, because then you won't have rook takes F7. But the idea is just to exchange off the rook, and then that B thing is still hanging. I mean, so you go rook B7, for example. You know, just rook takes B7, and then I do something like queen takes B3. I suppose A takes B3 maybe. Rook D1 check. bishop f1, bishop a1, which, you know, it's not 100% clear, but I think probably knight a3. I mean, black must have decent chances in this sort of position, you would have thought.
Yeah, you would have thought, yeah.
Yeah, king's got to be on g7 for that, so that f7 isn't hanging. But you know, that maybe that sort of thing. I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is probably going to be theory. I would have thought.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't fancy that sort of adventure, instead of knight takes c6.
Yeah. Knight takes c6 here.
Yeah, instead of that, I mean, you could just play e3 here. I mean, that is absolutely possible. But I guess we might go knight c5, maybe, or maybe even knight a5. I don't know. You know, knight c5 is maybe sensible. Looks sensible. And then queen b6. I go a takes b6. And I've got threats of knight a4, you know, and if you go knight c3, I go knight a5, maybe, or knight e5, you know, and I mean, black's fine. I mean, I just think black's got, you know, not so many.
Hi, let me think.
Hey, let me think. So, you know, but as I said, you know, this might just be known theory, and I might easily be missing something. But in principle, I'd expect, you know, this looks quite like it should end up quite decent for. Okay, we've got something. E3 was played by Mark.
The queen off, actually.
And knight a5. Oh, knight a5. He took the queens off.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe he's going to defend it with knight c. Well,
no, but I go knight b6. I'm hitting that c pawn in 2 ways now.
Nice. Yeah. So then he's got to go c5.
Yeah, I go knight a4, maybe. It's been played. c5, knight a4, bishop a3, knight c4, maybe. I don't know. It's a sort of opening where you sort of feel probably at most what it's going to have is the ability to swap everything off and sort of and liquidate. But that might not be true. I might be being too pessimistic. I could go c5 and after knight a4, which I was thinking about. Now the only thing I'm wondering about is whether black's got a better move, like knight ac4 or something like that. That might be better. Could well be better. Because if knight a4, I was thinking of playing bishop c3, so bishop c3, and trying to sort that. I'll go knight c4 after. We're a little bit stuck with white, but maybe c6. Well, c6, maybe c6.
Yeah,
it could get quite sharp. I'm pretty convinced this is all theory and unknown, but we'll see. We'll see who knows this better. Mark's already thinking on 49 minutes, and he normally plays fast if he knows something. So
I think Black's seen this before. Maybe not right up to here, but
I think Black's definitely acting on the basis of some knowledge. I think. Absolutely.
We're going to check in on Ferrari fan against
Oh, right.
Another Sicilian defense. Let's see it.
Oh, it's a Sicilian. Wow. Okay. I hadn't expected this one. It looked like one of those scotches, one of the things that or one of these Berlins that Caruana played, but no, okay.
Well, they give it the imaginative title of Sicilian Defense Normal Line.
Yeah, it doesn't look particularly normal to me, this. But,
normal line. E5, okay. So he's played E6 and E5.
And DC, yeah, this is very solid from Bogdan. But he goes solid, but he goes right on the attack there. So bishop c5, h3. Now you might expect h5, which is, sort of the standard way to do this.
That really would be attacking. But I guess you haven't got the knight on f3 to hit. You know, like normally when you do this h3, h5, there's a knight.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. But Bogdan actually, I was wondering why. I was thinking, my goodness, did Bogdan really launch an attack with g5, g4? But he got a bit provoked really because White played bishop g5, h6, bishop h4, bishop e6, and then played queen f3. So Bogdan went all in with g5 and g4. And of course, if h takes g4, then bishop g4 traps the queen. So so here h g4, bishop g4 wins the queen. So so queen e2,
okay,
gh3,
Right, queen e2. Wait a minute. Queen e2, gh3.
gh3. Was that even? Even wondering whether that was necessary, but okay. Bishop takes e5, rook g8, g3. I mean, this looks very strong as well. And now we just really need to find a bit of a killer.
Do you think black's better now?
Oh, absolutely. Black's much better here. I don't know, maybe knight g4 simply, and after bishop f4, queen f6. How about that?
See that quickly. So Bogdan, we recommend knight g4.
Yeah, even after bishop f4, maybe it's knight f2 straight away, actually, come to think of it. Rook f2 and queen f6.
Queen f6.
So I'm hitting b2. That's ideas.
You could do it on b6 as well.
Yeah, but I like queen f6. Actually, I like queen b6 as well.
Actually, yeah, you're threatening just in queen f4, aren't you?
I think queen f4, that was the idea, yeah. But actually, your queen b6 is very strong as well, because I'm threatening h2 check. Yeah, I'm threatening h2 check as well. So it's just lost. I mean, it's just lost for white already, I think. So
okay, wow, promising.
I mean, actually, queen h4 even probably could be. I know queen h4. I go king h2 probably. That's probably saving it. But there's a huge number of promising lines here. We just need to choose one, basically.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Where do we get to? Dandy-tastic against Gunslinger. So Scottish Jonathan against Welsh Jonathan. French defense.
We've had Battle of the Jonathans before, haven't we? I'm sure
we have, because it was Johnny Payne as well. There's a lot of Jonathans.
Johnny Payne. Well, that's right. That was that great game, wasn't it? Between it was in the qualifiers, wasn't it? Between Gunslinger and Johnny Payne, where Johnny Payne went 22 castles queenside to get out of the kingside the attack. Very nice. So yeah, I mean, this is exchange French with an isolated queen's pawn.
Let's see it.
Who is better and why, I'm not sure, but both sides probably satisfied with what they've got. So IQP here, but these IQPs with a C pawn rather than an E pawn for black, and well, just means that the E file's open, so it's quite tricky. Queen B7.
Hi, not quite a GM.
Hey, not quite. Yeah, I mean, knight e5 is quite a natural reaction here, just to put a knight on e5 with tempo. If bishop e5, we get well, get a strong pawn on e5. No longer an isolated queen's pawn, a nice outpost on d6. So yeah, I mean, knight e5 would be an extremely natural move to play, you know, and then just see what black's going to come up with. Other ideas. Let's have a look. We could go knight e4, I suppose. I mean, I guess after knight e5, black might take on e5, and then takes and then go knight f5. That might be his idea.
Yeah.
Just hitting the bishop on h4.
I guess that swaps it off, doesn't it?
It swaps it off, but I think we could probably just go queen g4 or something. You know, I sort of feel that knight f5, queen g4, and then you know, it's a slight edge. It's a slight edge.
Hi, Neil Barker.
Hi. Knight e4 is also possible, because after knight f5, you can go bishop f6.
Oh, yeah, bishop f6, so it can't be taken.
No, you go bishop e5 after, you know, and just try and get your bishop active that way. That could be quite hilarious.
Hi, past one 9,999.
That's making it a bit tough. Yeah, I mean, it's a slight edge for white, I think. You know, white's got quite nice position, but nothing critical yet. No need to get out the white flag just yet. So.
Okay, let's see. Checkmate a lot against Whimsical Jam. Now I know we have supporters for both sides in the audience here. So we have.
Oh my goodness me!
We have Peter Finn's brother, and we also have Theo Cowrey's dad. So got to be very neutral here. A Sicilian defense. Okay.
So should we take it from the top? Oh yeah, there we are. Sorry, it's just lagging a little bit.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, sorry, it was lagging a little bit. Or I'm getting slow.
Slow reaction.
So this is yeah. To be honest with you, I've never understood. I've seen this line recommended as black against the rather unusual 5F3 move in the Sicilian, which I've played a fair amount. But I've never quite understood this. I mean, it might well be equal, this line, but you're giving yourself double pawns here, you know, and going into an ending, which seems a bit of a shame. I mean, after Bishop G5 here, I once wrote an article on the fact that D4 here was just, in my opinion, a very good move for black. And you're even going to sacrifice, you know, if white goes C3, you're even ready to sacrifice.
I'm going to put this on the board. Okay. Ooh. So we have Bishop G5, and then your recommendation. Did you make this one up? D4.
D4. Yeah, it was very little played. I think Gelfand played it not so long ago, but I recommended in a book review once of this book of this opening. It's a book by Sergei Kasparov, no relation. Who he wrote a book on the what did he call it? Steamrolling the Sicilian. I could never work out whether steamrolling meant that it was powerful or very slow, really. But it was, but yeah, D4 and you know, C3, go knight C6. You're willing to sacrifice this this D pawn just to attack.
I would take steamrolling to mean it crushes everything in its path.
Yeah, no, it's possible. That could be. That could well be it. So, but yeah, I mean, I thought this was a nice active way to play, and actually, it's kind of the reason why I was always a little bit reluctant to play this too much as white. But just Bishop B6, I've seen it recommended, you know, as an equalizer in books, and it's possibly right. But it's I find the risks of playing like this from the opening. You swap off the queens.
Bishop E6 here, yeah. Okay, so
accept double pawns. I mean, you know, also from a philosophical point of view, which sounds a bit grand, but you know, just about how I approach chess as well. That you know, bypassing the middle game with the queens, you know, to head directly into a queenless middle game. I only do it if I feel there's a superb reason for doing it. You know, otherwise, you know, I like playing all the phases of the game. So I was never very happy with this line with black rather. But yeah, I mean, I think a checkmate lot here is following very much the theory, but I think black is
really way too bad. That sounds good. That sounds like have you had a win already? You didn't have the buy today, I think, or did you? Or was it the buy? No, sorry, Matthew.
So yeah, so
good win, fantastic, well done.
So the theory continues. So knight b5. I think this is all quite well known. Yeah, and now
okay, this was specific prep against Peter. Oh, and Peter's played it before. Okay.
King e7, king b1, bishop h6, knight d6, b6. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's not too. It's I imagine actually that, you know, the theory is absolutely correct, that this is fine for black. Just I think, I don't know. I find it rather tricky, to be honest. But we'll
it might suit Theo's game, right? Middle game fan, Dvoretsky fan.
Okay. It's yeah. I mean, bishop c4 here doesn't look so bad for white.
Neil Marker, as if he can see a queen swap, he goes for it so he doesn't blunder it later on.
No. It's no. I mean, it's a big. You know, I mean, again, this is a lot of it. You know, just to be clear, it's my own personal the way I play chess. You know, and there are many differences, but I always found that you know, bypassing a phase of the game, that bypasses chances. So, you know, move straight away, swapping off the queens to move into an endgame. Yeah, you know, you're giving away a big chunk of the game where you can't actually create an advantage. So my idea was that you know, if I do that, it's prepared and it's for a concrete reason. I mean, I wouldn't do it just to avoid you know, a phase of the game, because, you know, you've got to believe in yourself, and you've got to believe that you can play all phases of the game and play them well as well, you know. And that's just yeah, again, just you know, the way I approach it, the personal way I approach it. But yeah, it just makes me it makes me a bit nervous, this, because with black, it's just that if you go wrong here, then you've got no, you can't get back, simply because the position's just gone, you know. And whereas yeah, in a middle game, there's still, you know, there's still chances. I don't know. I mean, it
well, we will see how this develops.
Who turns out right. There's no certainly not claiming that I'm right or anything. It's just I said, just my my personal take on that.
What we've got to do now is see really way too bad against cute puppy.
Oh,
we have to have a quick look at this Scotch game. So Yong Wang is white here against Prakshi Aurora.
Oh yeah, taking it's a bit risky, really, because the queen's very good on d4 and quite hard to drive away. Oh, picking up the pawn.
That's looking good already, right? Oh, I suppose you can go bishop f6 and
you can, yeah, you can just but obviously that's a bit of a hole in your position. But black comes back with a bit of an attack.
Oh yeah,
white is it tight at the back there. Knight c4. Yeah, takes queen g5, looking for a queen d2 check. So white castles out of it. So principal white's got an extra pawn here, but just a little bit tricky, just to
can black recapture on b2 though? Oh, I suppose you go rook b1 and take on b7.
Yeah, you could. There's maybe, yeah, I mean, there's I guess there's a few moves there. So but rook b1 is the simplest, yeah. So castle queen side b3, knight d2, rook d1, and that rook's going to get, that knight's going to get into a bit of trouble, but probably white was just a little bit hasty there. Played f4, queen c5, king h1, and now black took on c3 and then took on e4. So we've got some sort of ending now with equal pawns.
A rook and pawn ending, of which we have seen many.
Indeed. So king d7 now.
I can't believe you guys have finished this game. It's like 50 moves in a rook and pawn ending.
Yeah, no, it's true. It went quite fast, this one, didn't it? So c4, that was probably not so good to check like that, because the king, f3 would have been fine, but okay. Oh, and that was a little bit over enthusiastic.
Oh, because we can take on d6 now.
We can take on d6 now. I'll give a little check and then start snaffling pawns. So snaffle, and then the f pawn is quite fast there. The a pawn is also reasonably fast, but I think we're just a little bit faster here. g5, a4. Oh, and this was well spotted. King a5, rook f6.
Very good.
Chomp, and it was soon winning.
That was it. Well done. Really way too bad.
Well done, way too bad. Hard luck, cute puppy. But you do have an absolutely lovely avatar there.
Okay, we will see Ollie Stubbs against Reina Jithendra.
London system. Le système de Londres. Okay, allemaal all known. Sorry, I've been speaking Dutch all day. All known. Knight d7. What
have we got? A bishop h7 check? No.
This well-known trick. Yeah, this is a really well-known trick. This one. It's If you don't know it, it can come as a total surprise. I mean, it's hit many grandmasters along the way. I think even Kamsky did Kamsky. No, he didn't fall into it with black, but somebody strong fell into it with black.
It is a bishop h7, right? How's this?
Yeah,
work?
but it's a very unusual one. You wouldn't guess it if you didn't.
Is it because we can do knight e4?
Yeah,
knight
yeah,
e4.
and knight g5. It's horrific.
Yeah, you wouldn't spot it.
You wouldn't spot it if you don't know it. You wouldn't spot it because it's just really really difficult.
We did check in on Hebden. We'll check there again on our second run through.
So rook e8, queen f7, queen b2, yeah, castles, and yeah, I mean maybe even taking the piece wasn't necessary. Maybe castle's queenside was stronger, but it doesn't matter. This is very promising for white, although black's done pretty well to survive like this. But it is very nice for white. You know, just the black king's rather.
Oh, yeah. So this is where we're at, and
yeah, I mean,
it's quite fancy, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I quite fancy rook d1 here, for example. Just with the idea of rook takes d5, maybe. That's not silly. Or maybe rook h3 first. Or actually, even knight takes e6. I just noticed, which is just really
it's on prise, isn't it?
Just on prise. So yeah, no, this is very good for very good for white.
Okie doke. We're gonna we will go through the rest of these, but we're gonna just check back in on the top ones.
Okay.
Let's see Keith against Mickey. So where were we up to? Had they castled?
Yeah. So knight c3, rook e8. Yeah, knight e5 was what AlphaZero played, but Keith plays slightly differently, a little bit more contained. Rook e1, knight bd7, knight e5, bishop b7, and knight takes e7. The AlphaZero played a4, a5, which is a lovely plan actually.
Yeah.
But anyway, knight takes d7, rook c1. So yeah, I mean, white's very solid. And you know, black doesn't have any clear way to do very much. So bishop g5, swapping off the old bishop for the knight, and then going b4. So Keith is getting his.
Keith is doing his same play against when he has the Carlsbad.
Exactly, e3, and oh, an interesting move now from Mickey. Bishop a6. Bishop a6.
Is he trying to put it in on c4?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether he's yeah, a slightly intriguing move actually. Yeah, I think he is. I think probably after bishop f1, then Mickey will play bishop c4 and then try and play b5 and then try and play a5 afterwards. Now, the reason I was wondering was I mean, you couldn't, could you? You couldn't play a move like.
What are you thinking? B5.
Yeah, but maybe prefaced by.
He's done it. He's done B5.
Yeah. But I was wondering whether you could preface that with Queen H5. Actually, that was the point. Because if I went Queen H5. On move 19, I'm threatening bishop h3.
All right,
and then I'm also threatening.
Let me have a look. So Queen h5 straight out here, threatening that one. So
I mean, what do you do actually?
Well, maybe move my queen or my rook.
Damn it. Yeah, no, but the idea then is simply that I go b5 and I'm already hitting d5. That's the idea.
So okay, that one.
Yeah, okay. I'll go b5 now.
Because you got an extra piece on this.
Yeah, I've got an extra piece on there. So I mean, if you go bishop takes b5, for example, I think I just take with a knight on b5. I mean, I could actually even consider going bishop takes d5, but okay, on the previous move. But let's just say that, and now I go bishop d5 now. And well, let me know I think this is very unpleasant. I mean, g6, I go queen g6. White's definitely a bit better here. I mean, if anyone's better, it's white here because got this very nice, run of central pawns, and black's going to have to be a little bit careful, I think.
Looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to, you could even play queen takes d5, and then that's another slight edge that you'll never ever lose. So that I think queen h5 was quite a good move actually. It's possible that Keith will transpose. But I think that gives white a some.
Oh, hang on. Oh, queen h5. If you go b5, you're just going bishop h3.
Yeah. I'm just claiming that I'm winning the exchange there, which I think is a pretty good claim in general.
Looks true.
I mean, what you could do, I suppose, just thinking about it, is go rook cd8. You could do that. So after b5, you go bishop b5, and if I go knight takes b5, cb, then you're protecting the d file. But I'm just want to go rook e2 here, actually. That's all I want to do. And then rook ec2. And I think I've got quite nice control because you're not really...
Oh, yeah, okay.
You can't... You're tied down to that d pawn forever, and I'm just coming in on the c file. I think it's quite promising. I mean, that would be my... obviously, it's somebody else's pieces, so that's always always easier to give those away. But I think that looks quite promising. Yeah.
Okay. So what about after b5 straight away? We just take it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess Mickey's going to take on b5. I have to say I'm a bit surprised by Mickey's move. Really, doesn't feel. It's a bit Mickey. It's just that Mickey doesn't allow that sort of stuff normally. Yeah, it feels a bit like an incautious move. But okay, bishop takes b5. I mean, we could do... Yeah, I mean, if we go queen h5 now, then, black might just decide to go bishop c4 and sack
the bishop again, yeah.
Then claim he's got two bishops, and that might be irritating. So probably should take on b5 straight away. No, sorry, with a queen on d1.
Yeah.
And maybe you can do the same. Maybe you just take... Maybe you go queen h5 here. Why not?
h5.
I think what you could do here with black now is maybe to take on c1 and go rook d8. I think that's probably, and I think that's a lot easier because you're not going to invade on the. No one's going to invade on the c file.
Yeah, these squares are all covered.
Yeah, you've only got one pair of rooks, and this is less dangerous. But I mean, it should still be nothing at all for. I mean, white can still try some stuff like bishop h3 and. But it's probably nothing special at all for white. So, so yeah, but I think 19 queen h5 was, unless I could be missing something. Yeah, that's absolutely true. But yeah, that looked like a very promising avenue to me.
We're going to check back in on Hebs against Tactic Monster for the crown.
Yeah, this was actually the variation we were talking about.
Yes, exactly. So we had seen the queens come off, hadn't we?
Yeah. So c5, knight a4, and I said bishop c3. That's right, knight c4. And then I was wondering about c6. Yeah, so...
it's all happened.
It's all happened. So, yeah, now, what is going to happen here? So, I mean, in general, what you could do with black is you could just take on c6 here. I'm sort of guessing. Is that right?
To just take.
Yeah, and then, well, let's just say bishop c6, I can just go knight c3. Takes and then rook b8. I mean, that's just, that's just trivial. That's just probably a little bit better for black, maybe, because of two bishops. The only question is, can I play the extremely sharp knight takes c6 instead of bishop c6?
Okay.
So what I was thinking of was to go bishop takes c3 here. Knight takes c3, knight takes c3.
Yeah.
Because it's quite hard to get at the knights. If you go rook c1, I go knight e2 check. So so knight e7 check. King h8, then bishop a8, and then, well, I mean, looking at it actually,
Excuse me.
Looking at it, you sort of feel that. Well, I mean, I'm guessing knight d1, rook d1, bishop g4. But bishop g4, we can go rook d4 probably.
Yeah.
That is definitely irritating. So that would be good for white. That would be very good for white. So let's have another look at knight takes c6. Now, what I could do is to throw in maybe knight takes c3. I'm just trying to work out. Yeah, knight.
We're Hefton fans too, not quite a GM, but we are also Tactic Monster fans.
Yes, we're fans of both, but of course,
fans of both sides this time.
Mark, we've known for a very long time.
Yeah. Mark's a good friend, actually. Yeah.
So yeah, but we're supportive of everyone. We hope.
Yes.
It's so knight takes c3, knight takes c3, and then bishop g4. Maybe we do. Just throw that one in first of all.
Okay.
But I don't. Yeah, I don't.
So let's move the rook.
We could go rook c1, but knight e7, bishop a8 is also not impossible. Rook c1. Yeah, maybe bishop f6. I don't know. Bishop f6 or maybe king h8 instead of.
We could go knight d5.
Yeah, I know. I knew you were going to throw that one in, but I could take on a1. You know, that's the thing.
Oh.
And you sort of blocked the. You've blocked the d2 h1 h8.
Take that one.
Want to take that one? All right. Bishop e6.
And I'll take something. I'll just take something.
I'll go king or h8 or something.
I better move this rook again then.
Yeah, I mean bishop b2. I'm not sure. I'm not sure you've got. I'm not sure you've got full compensation actually with white.
4-up though. Oh no, exchange.
Down.
Yeah.
Counting
and they've got bishops. So.
But I'm not sure. I mean, you know, after bishop g4, you could easily just go knight takes c7 check there. So 19 bishop g4, a little bit higher.
There we go.
So you could go knight takes c7 check.
Yeah.
King h8, bishop a8. Let's just do that. Bishop takes c3, maybe. I don't know. Bishop takes d. We've got bishop c3. Those pieces hanging, but maybe I can't take absolutely everything. Maybe just go bishop d5 or something. And yeah, no, this seems to be turning out nicely for white actually. So maybe after c6 we need a better move. After c6.
After c6, so that's
17 c6.
17 c6. Well, this is the obvious one. But...
I mean, rook b8. We'll probably end up going c7. You know, which is, and then you go rook a8. And you have to be very brave to do that with black because you just lost a couple of tempi for not a huge amount. I could play the move bishop g4, but then you'll go c takes b7, rook d8, and then you just go rook c1, and probably I'm not, you know, probably not working. So c6. Let's just go back to c6 because we maybe do need a very good, maybe need a good reply here. Good reply. I mean, there are a lot of moves. It's pretty confusing, this. I mean, I could try e5. So then you go c takes b.
Take here.
Copy. I take it.
Take on d4.
No, then you queen, I think. That's probably too much. But I take on there. Bishop takes. And then I was wondering about just going knight takes c3, knight takes c3, and e takes d4. Is that clever?
There's so many pieces on freeze in this game.
Yeah, bishop takes a8, and I wanted to go. Yeah, that would probably be fine for black. But bishop a8, I was thinking d takes c3, because I was thinking I'd have c2, you know. But I'm not. If I go bishop e4 here, for example, with white, I'm probably just better, aren't I? I think. Good chance. Yeah. So just go back to bishop takes b7 again. 19 bishop b7. Yeah, and then white takes it. Yeah, there we are. I mean, I could go e takes d4 like you suggested. That's probably better. So you go bishop d4, and then maybe I go something like rook d8 maybe, and pin you. Might be tricky for white to really get out of that, you know, because black's got the idea of knight a b2, and then afterwards we'll take on d4. So
yeah, we're gonna get this knight out, haven't we?
Yeah. I mean, you know, my feeling about the position is that you know, probably there should be some way to liquidate. You know, there should be a big explosion, and then we're you know, we're being equal at the end. You know, that's kind of my feeling about it. But I mean, another idea, but it just seems so stupid, really, would be to play after c6 to play knight takes c3 and then knight a5.
Yeah, knight takes c3.
And then knight a5 here.
Okay. Take it.
Yeah, then I go bishop b7, and you know, that's just going to be probably around even, I think.
Yeah, but maybe maybe that's what this is.
No. I mean, it probably is. I mean, I'm sure if you put it on the engine, it's just equal. But obviously, it's a complicated position, and yeah, both sides have got to calculate here. So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Okay. Now, we did see this one already. Let's see Shav's 7 against Dionysian. Right, Slav.
Yeah, because Dionysian's a bit of a hacker.
Yes.
Even going rook takes h5 yesterday. Well, g4, g5, and rook takes h5. So.
Hi, Benjamin.
Hi, Benjamin. Boom, boom, boom.
Ooh, g4. Yes, he is a bit of a hacker. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Bishop b7, f3, takes, rook takes, knight e4. I'd much rather go knight g4 if I can. This is really weakening the black structure very much. So, and it's not that you're so well developed that you can really get away with that, I think. So, I think.
Oh, so you would rather
play the knight to d4, yeah.
Yeah.
And then try and play f5 afterwards, you know, and then just really, you know, consolidate the whole center. Because I'm a bit after knight e4, we're taking on e7, we're taking on the e4, and the whole thing's getting very loose. So
lots of things come off.
Choppy, rook f4, queen g5, yeah, rook af1, rook g8, g3. It's quite solid, quite entrenched for white, really. And you know, h4 I can go g4, so I'm or actually h4 I can go rook g4, and pick your rook on g8. So that's quite awkward. c5 and queen b5. That's that rook on a7 is out of play, of course, but queen c2 is very nasty, hitting c6 and e4, and queen takes e4. Yeah, and that's kind of what we were talking about, really. You know, the black structure is just not solid enough there. So so white's
white's got the advantage, probably.
In principle, winning, I think. You know, it's king h1 would probably be a very sensible move to play now, and then we just can't get the h4 pawn. But I mean, we could also go something like I don't know, rook h4, for example. That probably actually just wins a pawn.
All right, let's see. Slow Sloth against Eddie, which is another Sicilian. Let's see it.
Oh. Oh, okay. So yeah, bishop b2 is rather quiet, and then the knight b5 just seems to lose the e4 pawn there.
Oh, yes. So that's, I guess, just a mistake.
Yeah, I think
rather
so.
than a theory, a sack.
No, I think that's a mistake. Yeah. So castles takes, bishop e7, queen g3, a little bit of counterplay for white, but not too much. A6, yeah. Knight c7 is possible, but you'll probably end up losing that knight. So this is more sensible. Takes, queen h3, g6, bishop g3 takes. Could consider fg in this position just to try and open up some lines, but okay, queen g3, e5, h4, e4, bishop e2, f5, f5. Probably would have.
Gives White some chances, though, doesn't it? Because it's a little bit low.
I mean, on the one hand, it's sort of you know, if you get the old queen f6, f4 in, then you're very happy. But it feels like it's a little bit weakening, a little bit loosening somehow, you know. But in principle, black is a pawn up, and
yeah, black should be better though. Yeah,
black much better there. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. George against Adam Sikowski. Another Sicilian defense.
C3. This is a B22, not flush.
Is this a B22?
If you're watching this later, this is for you. This is
Not
like playing your number in the bar at night. The classic B22 Sicilian defense Alapin. C4, bishop c2. So queen c7, queen e2, and then g5 has been very popular. But g6 is a very normal move. Yeah, this is quite well known, I think. But in principle, I quite like white in these positions. I think black always feels a bit loose, and I'm always worried I'm going to drop pieces somewhere. Knight b4. Wow.
Making use of this pin.
Really?
Along here.
I feel very tempted to take that and then start doing stuff.
Let's give it up. Yeah.
Always, but I'm yeah, quite possibly wrong about that. So bishop b1 is probably not bad because you know, that pin will get broken eventually. Short castles, bishop b2, bishop t4. Very interesting play though from black. Really very aggressive here. And,
yeah, because that knight could always come in on. There's a possibility of coming in on d3 or something.
And you're threatening bishop takes f3, queen f3, bishop d4, for example, which would be rather embarrassing against the pawn f2. So it's quite dangerous.
You're threatening what? Bishop takes, queen
f3,
takes,
queen f3, bishop d4.
Oh, there because this rook's yeah. Oh, nasty.
There is madness in my method. So what do white do? Oh, white hasn't done anything yet. I mean, the normal way for white to play would be to play knight b5, and then somehow after the knight comes in. But I'm not sure because knight b5, if I go something like queen d7 or something like that, yeah, I'm just not really sure. This pin against the queen is quite irritating, I have to say.
So knight b5, then what? Then black does
queen d7, I think, simply.
Queen d7. Yeah.
I mean, you go knight d4, I take on d4, pardon me, and then take on f3, which is rather... I'm not very happy about it, really. It might be all right.
I suppose when that bishop takes on f3, we can take back with the pawn.
Yeah, that's right. But I'm not very...
Not what you want.
Not super happy about it. I'm not jumping for joy when I see that. Yeah, looks a little bit... looks somehow like white's pieces are awkward. So going to need some... going to need a bit of inspiration there from black, I think, from white rather to make this work out properly. Okay,
we're going to pop back in on Peshka the Great against a Drunken Knight.
Wow.
So we had seen g4.
Wowsies.
Okay.
Okay.
So Chris Duncan coming in to hit that pawn on f3.
Yeah. So this is rook c8. Is that the right way to do stuff? I always seem to remember that you went queen c8 or something in these positions, but knight b5. Yeah, this is was it queen d7 in this position? Maybe queen d7 was what Gawain was recommending. I'm not quite remembering it well, but this was definitely looked at. I think queen d7, and then you can go queen a4 at some stage. But after knight fd7, then we're sort of getting hit by the main point of this line, which is knight d4, and then the pawn on e6 is sensitive. So knight c5, and now Peshka the Great.
Okay, Peshka the Great's going for it with b4.
Mate, what mate? And he's probably praying that Chris isn't going to say this mate. That is incredibly risky.
So what would you do then as black? You're going to take advantage of this. You're going to put I don't know, queen.
Well, yeah, I have the feeling that there are a lot of possibilities.
Knight a4.
Well, knight a4 is one. If we're looking at candidate moves, knight a4 is definitely one. We've also got, I mean, it might seem a little bit odd already, but a rook f3 or knight f3 are not completely unthinkable. Knight takes g4 is also not completely unthinkable.
Well, you've come up with 4 moves so far, Matthew, and every single one is sacrificing material.
Yeah, and of course. Well, I'm going to carry on actually, because queen b6 is another.
Yes, that was my first idea. But
queen b6, and a sort of related idea, queen d7 maybe, or queen e8, just to meet b takes c5 with queen a4. Actually, that would be the. I mean,
there you go. So those are the candidate moves.
I mean, my problem with this b4 is that, yeah. Well, I mean, what can we say? I mean, I might well have played this with white, of course, but you are really setting yourself up to be attacked here, and I don't know whether that's always a good thing to do. So. What can we do? But obviously, you know, a lot of what I've suggested is probably going to be rubbish. So, I mean, that you also have to bear that in mind.
We'll just look at one of them. Let's look at knight f3.
Is that a good one to start?
Knight a4, maybe. That's the obvious one.
Let's have a look at knight a4, because if that works, then you know. So knight takes e6. Now we need some sort of line here. Yeah, I mean, what you really want to do is go knight c4, and then after knight takes d8, you go bishop b2, king b1, knight a3 mate. You know, I mean, that's what you'd really love to be able to do. But presume there are a few.
You might not do that though.
Okay. Sorry,
yeah. You might not do it.
There are a few obstacles along the way. So, yeah, queen d7 or queen. I think the annoying thing is that after queen d7 or queen e8, Black's white's going to play knight takes g7. So I don't think he's going to take your rook. He's going to take your dark squared bishop. And then follow up with bishop d4, and that's probably quite annoying, unless you've got unless after queen d7, knight g7, you've got some sort of intermediate move that you know that's really powerful. Then you're probably going to suffer a little bit with that.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure. Well, I mean, you could go queen d7, knight takes g7, knight c3, which is not completely stupid. I mean, I'm threatening Queen A4, which is actually quite an alarming threat, really. And if you go Bishop D4, then I want to go Knight takes F3. Bishop takes F3, Rook takes F3. And I'll meet something like Rook F1 with Queen A4.
So takes.
Queen A3. No, Queen A3 mate.
No, Queen A3 mate, that'll be stronger.
So, yeah. You know, thing is, you know, when you play B4, it's going to be like this in every single line. You know, every single line you're going to be looking and saying, oh, God, you know, if only my pawn was on B2, I would, you know, Black's going to have some sort of weird counterplay in every single line he plays. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, if it's, you know, it could just be brilliant calculation and it's all working, or it could just be, you know, thing is, of course, I'm looking at the time situation. Chris Duncan's got 7 minutes left, and Peshka the Great.
This is it. Because that it's going to take a long time for Black to think about lines here, isn't it? Once Peshka the Great played B4, there's so many choices and so many tempting stuff, and some of it works and some doesn't, presumably.
Yeah, I mean, I think Peshka probably either Peshka knows it, but I don't think so, because I don't think what Chris played was really, you know, theory. Or he's just decided, I'll play it, your problem. And then, you know, I'll deal with whatever happens. And that's, you know, that is often a very reasonable approach to take there. I mean, I don't know whether, all these sacrifices on F3 are probably a little bit too much, I guess. I mean, Rook takes F3 was, why was that appealing to me? Yeah, Rook takes F3. Because after Rook takes F3 here, then I was thinking of, I mean, if you go B takes C5, I play Rook E3, Queen E3, Queen A5. And I'm just claiming that I've got, you know, I'll have an open C file, long diagonal, you know, work it out. You work it out. You know, it's that sort of spirit. If Rook F3, Knight F3, I've got Knight takes C4, which looks very dangerous. If Rook F3, Bishop takes F3, I've got Knight C4, which looks quite... like it could be quite tricky, because afterwards my knight comes into A4. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think every single
lots of possibilities.
Every single ridiculous line that I've mentioned, you know, has some danger in it for white. So I don't know. But obviously, Chris obviously having some difficulties. Yeah.
What we need to do now is look at McCarthy Stone, Johnny Payne, who has won.
That was quick. How many moves did they play?
Can you remember where we got to? They've played a lot now. 57.
Yeah, it was quite early in the game. It was after earlier
than that.
No.
Even before.
Knights. So knight BD2 was where we got there. 10 knight BD2.
Yes.
So knight C5 was played. Oh my goodness me! And so I said knight C5, and I'd expected C2, but white played B4.
That's brave. Because now the king's coming out.
Some might say foolhardy. So,
we've still got these pins, so check back.
And then castle queenside.
Queenside, okay.
It all went horribly wrong, yeah, I can see the tactics. So bishop B2, bishop E5 was played. Getting a bishop into D3, choppy, knight F3, which is really... very optimistic that you could get away with that. Queen B2, knight D2, and now just the simple tactic, rook takes and bishop D3. Very nice.
Yeah.
Takes queen D1. And to be honest, black took off queens here. It's quite, I don't know. I mean, I would have been tempted to keep the queens on and go queen C3 or something, but yeah.
But this is good enough. This is good.
It's just winning,
yeah. And black wins. So a very nice Budapest Fajorovic's defense.
Indeed.
Okay. So Dynamonaut and Frederick the Mate we need to see now.
Oh, we do.
We do, yeah. That one we had got we'd got some of the way there. Where did we get to? Somewhere like there?
Indeed. So queen b6. Yeah, queen b6 found it a bit of a funny move there because thought that the bishop would just get hit by bishop e3 later. And, well, call me a clairvoyant. But that's what comes of looking so old, you see. That's you know things like that. But rook b1, bishop b6, bishop b3, we get hit. So queen a5, but I mean it's not a drama end of the world, but it's just I think you could have played a few more useful moves rather than queen b6, queen a5, queen c7. You know, that's just in general terms of efficiency in the opening. You know, you could have thought this through a little bit more probably. But you know, I mean, game goes on, no worries. So rook bc1, rook fc8, bishop f4, rook b4. Yeah, okay. I'm not. I think black could have played this a bit more efficiently, but the right moves are coming in now. So a5, rook e1, knight d7. That's a good one. You know, the knight can come to c5 or e5. I mean, what I would have really wanted, you know, just quickly from the opening, would have been maybe to play the knight to c5 very quickly and then strike with f5. You know, with my rook still on f8. That would have been quite a nice
instead of like queen b6.
Yeah, instead of queen b6, you know, maybe play a quick knight d7, then knight c5, rook b8, and then go quick f5. You know, that would have been a really nice active plan. And then you've got your two bishops. You know, after ef5, bishop f5, you've got everything pointing towards that along those two diagonals, the h8a1 and the h7b1. So I would have liked that, you know, but this is all fine. Black's playing you know, sensible moves, so no worries at all. So knight e5, we're up to 20 knight e5. So black actually organizes around the d4 square now. So plays c5, bishop e3, c5, rook f1. I mean, white's struggling a little bit to find a good plan here as well. So knight c3, knight d4. Bishop d3, rook bb8, f4. Yeah, but somehow, yeah, I mean, that knight on d4, it looks nice, but it kind of, I'm not quite
sure. It does look nice.
It does look nice, but I'm not 100% sure what the next, you know, what the follow-up is with that knight. So, you know, if white gets in f5, and I think we definitely got to consider it now, then, you know, that knight on d4 could just be useless somehow. I mean, king h1 looks like a very reasonable move, to be honest. Now, okay, rook c1 is also quite reasonable, but I would have gone king h1. I mean, simply with the idea of at some stage playing f5, and then bishop takes d4 and he takes f5, that sort of thing. You know, and so yeah, I mean, black's got to decide what he's going to do about this. I mean, are you going to try and play f5 now? It's a little bit risky. I mean, it's, you know, white's queenside structure is very solid now. You've lost all your chances against that. So yeah, I mean, I like white really in this position. I think so. I think black's going to have to do some defending here because I'm not quite sure about the potential in black's position. You know, I mean, good to put a knight on d4, but what's he doing after? What's your next step? And whereas with white, I can see, well, we're just going to keep on going around and prepare f5, you know, go king h1 and maybe queen f2 or some stage or something like that. Knight d5 is another possibility. You know, what are we going to do with black? And I'm a little bit nervous about that. I would have liked, for example, that bishop to be on d7. Do you think
black could block with f5 to stop white's plan?
Yeah, it's a bit risky. It's a bit loose now, you know, and when you go f takes e4 after the knight comes to e4 to g5, I'm a bit... It's
he's done it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd rather do it than not do it, you know. But with just this move, for example, queen d7, I would have maybe liked to have a look, or you know, you could consider seriously whether to play bishop d7, which is actually quite similar to what Keith did yesterday, actually. But after f4, bishop d7, in order to force through a4 and get some counterplay, you know, that sort of thing. Or even when the rook was on b4, you know, black played rook bb8. Even to consider playing a4 there, you know, and just sacrifice the exchange to get some play. Just
I thought he might be going for a4, I must say.
It's just a little
But
bit.
I'm sure he still will go A4 at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll happen at some stage, you know. But just a little bit. Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous for his position, but again, I think I'm also, yeah, you know, just I think it's because partly as well, I haven't seen my plan, the plan I wanted, so I'm assuming then that it's not so good. But I think F5 was played at the right moment.
That was my plan, F5. I like it.
Well, there we are. So F5 was played at the right moment, which I think had to be played. I'm a bit nervous. It feels a bit loose somewhere, but maybe it's fine, you know, and maybe Black's just still in time to do that. I mean, I think both sides have sort of struggled a little bit to find a good disposition of their pieces, but basically now we've sort of got this position. Everyone looks a bit reasonably developed, and we're going to see how the fight continues.
Okay, we need to see Bogdan. Bogdan has won against Ferrari fan. It was looking promising, wasn't it? Can you remember where?
Oh, good lord! Yeah. That was wait a minute, it was a bit higher. So G takes H3, Rook G3. Yeah, that was the 17 G3.
G3. There we go.
Yeah, so we were saying Knight G4 was probably winning, which I think it probably was. But Bishop G4 was played by Bogdan. You also can't argue with this. Bishop F3. Queen F4, H2 check. Takes Knight G4. There.
Vicious.
G5. Yeah, this is pretty good. It's a little bit, yeah.
He's taking on E5 and
it's pretty good. Queen G2. Queen G7.
He can play Queen G3 if he wants.
Queen G7. Why did Bogdan play Queen G7, I wonder?
Don't know. Maybe he forgot about Queen G3. Oh, he's trying to threaten B2. He's threatening Knight D3 and Queen takes.
Yeah, but just after Queen G7, I could go Knight C3. So I just sort of wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you just be a 10? Well, yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. No. But anyway, Bishop B2, because I mean, White's covering F3 now and everything, so it's just really, it's a bit strange. But okay. Chop chop. King H2, Rook G6, Knight C3, castles. I think I preferred our lines, but still, this is still quite tricky. F4. Ooh. Yeah. I think White maybe he just had to accept that you're going to be a pawn down somewhere and go Rook G1 and just try and survive that, because this looks quite risky. Knight G4, King H3, Knight F2, and took on there. Okay. Rook F1, but this is clearly winning for Black. Just exchange up, and White's pieces, you know, really badly coordinated.
Yeah. Okay, and at this point, Robert Starley resigned. Indeed. All right, and there's actually one more has finished. We didn't see this. I don't think we saw the end of this Slow Sloth.
No, we didn't. You're right.
Yeah.
So it was after F5. So a little bit lower. There we are. F5. Yeah. So Queen F4.
Oh, yeah. And we thought this might give White chances if it goes wrong, but it's also quite.
It went right. That's the Queen H6 F4. And this was pretty big. Oh, that was quite Queen H4, F3, E3, and Black resigned, White resigned. Okay, yeah. I mean, Rook E5 takes H5 is coming in. That's the big, problem. So I mean,
that Queen is trapped.
Yeah. Oh, and nice. Look at that. Nice sportsmanship in the chat. Good game, well played. That's great.
Very nice. Okay, we will now see full books against Nut Flush.
Ooh, so Nut Flush is definitely pressing here.
Yes, we did see the start of this, didn't we?
Indeed. So we saw it up to 92, 1092 just being played when we left. So C5. Short castles. Actually, that's Victor Bologan who spoke like that, and he actually did a video on the Nimzo. So he probably said, in this very position, I think, short castles. So rook c8. That was one of the videos that sent you to sleep, wasn't it, Natasha? Sorry,
that's confidential information. Yes, it is. Yes.
No, because I think I recommended it, didn't I? I said this is quite an interesting video on the.
But all chess videos send me to sleep. That just means I'm concentrating hard until the moment I fall asleep.
It's yeah, I always quite enjoyed Victor Bologan's DVD. So as well, so b3 was played, h6, yeah, takes c takes d4, queen takes d4. It's quite uncomfortable for white. I always find in these systems, you're doing all sorts of things to avoid the pins. This queen on c3 is vulnerable to all sorts of tactics. However, if you survive, then you've got the two bishops. That's the big prize at the end. So, but here, Queen e7 played, Rook fd1, Rook fd8, Queen b2, Knight c5, and here, presumably, White was a little bit worried that after Bishop c2, we'd go d5, and the c4 pawn is pinned to the knight on e2. Yeah. So he played the move Knight c1. Which really feels very, very ugly, I have to say.
Still get d5 anyway.
Yeah, so he went d5 anyway. I was wondering whether you should go g5 first, but yeah, d5, why not? C takes d5, rook takes d5, bishop e2, choppy, and then queen d7 was played here. Just getting out of the pin, so the knight's going to be able to come to e4 or to d5. And yeah, it's just a little bit uncomfortable for white. Not going to be easy to get these the major pieces working.
Yeah, black's pieces are way more active.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I do notice actually that it's one of the things. You're commentating and you say, black looks a little bit better, but of course, during the game, I'd be much more nervous because I'd be thinking, okay, I'm a bit better, but is it enough to win? You don't. That's why you've always got to watch out a little bit with commentators when we're sort of talking about these games because if we say, oh, we found the slight edge, that's good, but is it enough to win? Well, we leave it over to the players really. So, but this is very pleasant for black. So black's played it very well so far. So. Yeah.
Okay.
I would expect black to be able to make something of this, and maybe get a pawn or a weakness somewhere.
Shove 7 has finished against.
Oh yeah, that was
the game, wasn't it?
Yeah, when black played g5, g4, but really overcooked it a little bit. So no, it's a bit higher that we left it. We left after queen takes e4, after rook e7. Actually, we left it.
Oops, sorry, rook e7.
So I said we could even go after the h pawn, and indeed that's what white did.
It's done.
Chopped it and went e4. And no, this is very solid. I mean, white played this very well. Not doing anything complicated, not going for the quickest win, but just going for a very simple win. And fine. Yeah, this is very good technique. Just drain the life out of the position, basically, and just remove any hope from black that
Yeah, 3 pawns up now, so black resigned.
Black resigned.
Okay, right. Where do we need to go next? What about Dandy-tastic against Gunslinger?
Daddy-tastic. That sounds reminds me of Big Daddy. In the wrestling. Did you ever watch that? You probably never did, actually.
Of course I did. Big Daddy against Giant Haystack.
Oh!
Of course I did. Sunday afternoons.
Sunday afternoon wrestling. Yeah, that was cool. Giant Haystack had a guy who helped him, wasn't he? He was sort of like a mini haystack.
Yeah.
So the Big Daddy always scared him, didn't he? That was always the...
Right. We'll have a quick look at this, and then we're going to head across to Checkmate a lot and win Whimsical Jam.
Ooh, all right. So Queen D7 was where we saw it.
There we go.
Doink. So Bishop C2, yeah, Knight D5, Queen D3, G6, Knight E4, F5. Got to watch out a little bit for your bishop on H4, but in principle, all good. Bishop B3, check, getting out of that. King G7, Queen D2, F4, F3, very good. G5, Bishop F2. In principle, White's got a very nice position here. You know,
Yeah.
really, I mean, Black's quite well entrenched on the old D5 square, but White's got this gorgeous. Yeah, I'm not sure I would have swapped off, although it's not bad at all. Rook E2. Yeah, maybe it's just a good plan, actually.
You like the knight on E5, were you about to say?
Yeah, and White's going to go Rook E1 and then probably just withdraw it at some stage. Just cover C4 so you can't have Knight C4, and then the black king side's very weak here. So, yeah.
Bristol Pete, I don't remember Kendo Nagasaki.
Kendo Nagasaki, yeah, absolutely wonderful. He was great, Kendo Nagasaki.
Okay, we're going to see checkmate a lot, and
I think if you look back at it, you might feel that it doesn't really fit into our year and the way that, you know, certain characters and countries, etc., are portrayed. But yeah, it felt for the time, you know, and watching it as a tiny kid, it felt very, very exciting, I have to say.
We got further than here, didn't we? Oh, this was your line.
Yeah, I was having a bit of a bit of a
moment. Did a whole lot of exchanging, and
I was having a bit of a whinge about that, wasn't I? Really,
you were.
Okay, Bishop B5, Rook D8. So Rook E1, A6, A6. Oh, a little bit of tactics there. Bishop A6. We've got Knight B8.
So
Bishop
A6, Knight B8, and it's a double attack on this bishop and this knight.
Bishop and Rook, exactly.
Yes.
So Bishop F1 was played. B5, Knight A5.
Oh, yeah.
Bork. So Knight B8. Sorry, I'm in a bit of a rushing mood today. It's the problem of doing these streams after you've been at work. You're just in a slightly different mood. Knight AB7. Rook D7, now G3.
Checkmate a lot is trying to redeploy this bishop, it looks like.
Well, no, he's trying to play F4, what he played on his next move, actually, which is quite dangerous. Because obviously, if he takes F4, we have Knight F5 check. So some danger here for Black. However, are you still there, Natasha?
Oh, yeah. I've got to click that thing or it will log me out, won't it?
Weird, isn't it, how that goes?
I mean, I'm quite obviously here. I've been playing moves for like solidly.
Yeah, no, it's true. I never quite understand how that goes. But this is a very clever tactic from Black. So just in time, really, just absolutely at the last moment, just breaking up this white structure.
Yeah. So we have to take it pretty much.
We have to take it, yeah, I think. So Rook takes D6, and then takes, and then Knight B7. Yeah. So, I mean, if he goes something like King E7, then I'll probably take on E5 twice, which I think is probably just going to be good for White. Just looks like a pawn up to me. So I think
he goes to attack this knight.
Yeah, I get King C7, but then I go Knight C5. King C7, Knight C. Whoa, Knight C5. Yeah, now this is a bit of the question. You could play E takes F4, maybe. Let's go Knight takes C6.
Oh, let me think. Thinks Peter's had this exactly the same before.
Oh, really?
Or the same tactics?
Could be. Yeah, I mean, in that book that I mentioned, the Steamrolling the Sicilian by Sergei Kasparov, he showed about 5 games which all look virtually the same. That was it was a bit of a funny thing, really, but you know, all with the same ideas. But I would have thought that after Rook takes E6, that yeah,
you could go Rook D8, couldn't you?
Yeah, then I go bishop d3.
And then f3, try and queen it.
Well, then I've got rook f6. I mean, you're not going to queen that pawn. And then h7 is hanging as well. The point is you've got a lot of pawns hanging. I think, what I could imagine you ending up with is white with two connected pawns on the queen side and you struggling to hold it, really. So I think, yeah, this just looks quite nice for white, I would say.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
So what would you do if you're black? Take on g3?
Yeah, probably take on g3. And then maybe I go you take back, of course. And then maybe rook d8 here. Bishop d3. And then rook g8. Is that an idea? I'm just trying to make sure that that after rook takes f6, I can go rook takes g3, for example. But I can play moves like I can simply play a3, for example, even simply, and then you go, and then I'm if you go rook g3, I go rook a6, and all three of your pawns are hanging b5, f6, and h7. So you're going to be very lucky to get away with with holding all of those. So, yeah, and I don't know, and thing is, trying to queen against opposite coloured bishops is quite tricky, because you can't force the pawn through. And then if white's got 3 connected pawns on the queen side, I think it could be quite difficult. So I'm not sure. Maybe there's something clever for black, but if it's going, just my initial impression about how this is going is that it's getting quite difficult for black.
Okay.
I mean, I would have thought maybe that black should really be after knight c5. Maybe black shouldn't be going for this ending, unless there's something clever, and should maybe be just trying to sacrifice a pawn and play with the 2 bishops. That would be my
yeah, that sounds
maybe bishop c8, maybe bishop c8, I don't know. Oh, wait a minute, am I getting a clever idea?
What about rook d8? Are you still just bishop d3?
Yeah, so they always play bishop d3 there. Yeah, because I actually, so after f takes e5, of course, I could go rook e8. Yeah, I mean, I could go bishop d3 always. This is a bit irritating. The h7 pawn is dropping. I could also just go knight d3 as well instead, and claim knight d3, and then claim. Well, I'm going to be a pawn up.
Yeah.
I mean, there's maybe something clever though. Just thinking about it, because no, it's not going to work. I was wondering whether I could go bishop g4 here, with the idea of meeting fe with bishop d2, maybe.
Sorry, fe bishop d2.
And sort of hoping that that I'd manage to. For example, if you go rook e4,
yeah,
and then I go f5 maybe, and you go rook d4, and I go bishop e3, and you go rook d7 check, and I go king c6.
Yeah,
and you're losing.
Well, this is fine now.
Yeah, this is fine now. So I mean, bishop g4 is possible, but I can also take on a6 as well, which is maybe less good. Because I take on a6 with check, you go king b6, and I go knight b4. And then if you go ef, I go knight d5 check takes f4.
Sorry, knight d5 check takes.
For example, I mean, even knight f6 is conceivable. So I don't know. I'm not sure, but I think that this is quite a crucial moment now, and I think that black's. I think that black's a little bit on the cusp of being worse there, but.
Okay, there's a question in the chat about the results from the junior tournament, which I can get you. Just going to take me a moment to get it to you. It's on chessresults.com. Right, let's look at Mickey's, and I'll put you in a position, and then I'll find those that link for you.
Whoa! What has happened?
Right, where did we get to with Mickey?
Yeah, b5, b5.
b5. Sorry, here.
Indeed. So bishop takes b5. Knight takes b5, cb. And well, yeah, we wanted queen h5. I mean, that's the one. But Keith went queen b3. And
Yeah, we will look at this one.
yeah, Keith went queen b3. And what you knew was going to happen did happen.
The queens came off.
No, not that. Unfortunately, rook c4 was played. Bishop f1, but you know, Mickey is obviously, this was Mickey's plan. Really, he had no intention whatsoever of.
He's just going to give up that exchange.
Yeah, but it's a very sharp position. This very, very sharp. I mean, yeah, rook b1 was played, a6, and now bishop takes c4. So Keith forcing white to take with black to take with a d pawn on c4. So now he's got his big pawn center here.
Yeah.
So interesting. h4, a little bit of AlphaZero from Mickey.
Yeah. We saw Keith doing that the other day.
Rook bd1, but this is very, very fraught. This is really very exciting. e4, h3 from Mickey. Yeah, I think that's a good move. f4 from Keith. Keith's going for a big center here. Bishop b4, rook e2, rook d8. Ooh, okay, and now f5 from Keith. Well, now there's a sharp position to look at. Yeah, I don't really know what to make of this one. Yeah, so I mean, after bishop c5, threatening bishop takes d4, but yeah, I mean, I guess I'll just go, I can go king h1, for example, or yeah, the kind of thing that you're wondering about this position is hi Gooey. Oh yeah, Duda beat Magnus, indeed. Absolutely. That was quite thrilling this today. So f5. Oh dear, what are we doing here with black? I'm a little bit stuck for thoughts here, really. It's just quite hard for black to increase the pressure on white's position. I mean, if I go bishop c5, I just go king h1 simply. And after bishop d4, I've got rook e d2. I pick up the bishop. So not very clear. Maybe king f1 is even better. So f6 from Mickey. Just trying to hold back the pawns. That's probably a pretty decent way of playing.
So Mickey's given up the exchange for pawn.
Yeah.
His pawn's coming down the queen side, and Keith's counterattacking in the center on the king side.
Yeah, I mean, what I'd really want, pardon me, from Keith's point of view, I think is to get the white queen active. I mean, that's the that's the thing that's really lacking at the moment. The queen's looking, on c2, it's a bit passive. So I mean, a move like queen c1, for example, would be the sort of move I would be looking for. Just queen c1 and then trying to bring the queen out to f4. That seems quite decent. Maybe queen c1, king f1, get the king out of the dark squares, and then go queen f4. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not easy. It's certainly not easy for white to make progress here. I mean, you certainly don't want to go d5. So you might want to go e5. But then after e5, yeah, I mean, your center becomes weak, and also the a8 h1 diagonal is opened, which with that pawn h3 is quite irritating.
Yeah.
I mean, you could even consider going king f2, f3, g4 takes h3, to be honest. Which is kind of a reflection of the fact that I'm not quite sure what black is doing either. What is what is Black's plan here? But maybe Mickey will just put the queen on f7, maybe, and it's, I don't know, is he going to go a5 or something and try and?
Yeah, you'd have thought the queenside pawns need to come, don't they?
Yeah. That is sort of possible.
Or bishop c5.
Yeah, I can just go. I think I can just move out of the way. I can just go something like king f1, and then if you go bishop d4, I just go rook e d2 and pick up the bishop. So the threats aren't really there yet. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'd think of going queen c1, maybe, or a move like king f2, you know, and just try and get my my king a bit off the back rank and a bit more active, a little bit more forwards. Going to be a tricky one, but Keith's got quite a bit of time, more than Mickey, so we're going to see. It's a very unclear position, you know. That's the key thing, and I'm not particularly sure what both sides should be doing. I imagine that White is better, and maybe quite a bit better actually, but it's, you know, in a human game, it's pretty unclear here, really. You know, it's the sort of thing you say in an engine game. I might well believe this, but yeah.
Mickey's had a good long think, hasn't he? He's like actually behind on the. Well, I suppose Keith's a fast player, but he's behind on the clock.
Yeah, Mickey behind is quite unusual. You know, I mean, Mickey's a fast player. You know, he doesn't spend time if he doesn't need to. You know, so I think it's obviously a tough position for him as well to work out what he's doing.
Yes. Shall we check back in on Diamond and Frederick the mate?
Ooh, okay. So wow, we've had a bit of a clash there, but it looks like White's emerged a bit better from this one. Big control of the light squares, extra pawn, very solid. So yeah, in principle, White's got a clear got at very least a clear advantage here. Not going to be easy to put it away, because well, both sides are sort of playing along each other, you know, and yeah, actually that pawn on f5 kind of hinders. It makes White very solid with the bishop on e6, but it hinders any attack against the h7 pawns. It's not going to be so easy to put that all away. But h6. I don't like that one very much.
White squares are a bit weak with that.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you go rook h3, you'll have to go bishop. You're going to have to. You might have to move your bishop to g5 at some stage to defend, and that's not really what you want to do. I think on h7 you were still pretty solid, I think, but okay, you know, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, I think it's easier for White to play and harder for Black to defend, you know. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one for Black, but we'll see how that goes.
I don't think we saw this game at all, so let's just. Let's do a really quick
whistle. It was quite dramatic. It was I'm a Pickle who he lost to Mark Headland yesterday, didn't he? He got in a Marshall. We saw that game. So
Aurora.
Yeah, we've seen her playing the system quite a bit with a bishop on d3, pawn h3. It's quite a trendy system. This was a little bit difficult here. Black getting lots of counterplay. So a little bit tricky for White. Queen h4.
So she's got a pawn, but Black has a lot of counterplay.
Yeah, Black's getting the pawn back there. But okay, you know, you've got out of you've castled. You're vaguely safe now. So you know, now you can start playing on. That was a bit of a careless move, I think, to just give away the bishop pair like that, and also to give getting the d6 pawn is not totally clear. Bishop d4, well, quite a bit of counterplay. But somehow White can defend by taking things, which is oh, and this was
okay.
Yeah, king h5, rook h7 mate.
Sudden end to the game. Well done, Tashika Aurora.
Yeah,
and the only other one I think that we didn't see yet is Amit Abbas against Gil.
Oh, good lord!
Should we whiz as well?
Trump. Looks like it was a bit of a hack from Amir.
Okay.
A Trompovsky. Oh, the old style Trompovsky. Oh, you don't see these very often with F3 G5.
I think I've played this one against Julian Hodgson himself.
No.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Jules never played Bishop H4. Bishop F4 was his big.
He's done. No. He has.
Has he played? Okay, maybe at the start.
But this would be in some kind of, minor rapid play 25, 30 years ago.
So Queen E2, yeah, got a little bit. It all got completely random, didn't it? But somehow White's very tied up there. That was a good bishop on D5, wasn't it? And then takes. Okay, check. Queen H4, Rook F2.
Oh, picks up.
Rook G8. Ah, everything's sort of. Yeah. Somehow that pin was quite nasty. If White had just had the king castled, it would have been better. But Rook E2, Rook B8, C4, check. Yeah, missed that, and then Queen E2, and yeah.
Okay. So now should we check in on checkmate a lot?
Oh, equal position there. Extra.
Yes,
okay.
we noticed he hasn't played. I don't know why particularly.
So yeah, this is so yeah, maybe White missed a bit of a trick there. Maybe, I don't know. It was so after yeah, White went in for this, but then ended up exchanging off the rooks, and of course this ending is just a draw. This is a very easy draw for Black. So there's no hope whatsoever for White to win this. So probably playing Rook takes H7, I think, was we needed to look for something else, and rather than yeah, I mean H takes G3, Rook D6. So this was a good defense, but I'm thinking that you should maybe have just gone Rook E8 or something, or maybe even Rook E1. Not after Rook E1 instead of Rook E7, and then yeah, it's not important. I mean, Rook E1, and then afterwards you're threatening to take on H7, and if Black goes Rook D7, I go Rook H1, and I can pick up the pawn with the rooks on the board. That's the idea, and that's maybe better chances. But okay, well defended, Whimsical Jan.
Hebs against Tactic Monster.
Oh, we should probably have a look how that went, because
yes,
where
were we?
So a C6 was played. Yeah, we were looking at all sorts of lines. It was very, very complicated. I was wondering about E5 here, but B takes C6, Bishop takes C. Oh, okay, Bishop takes C6. We thought this was nothing at all. Yeah, Knight takes C6. We thought was the. But okay, Knight takes C3, takes Rook B8. We thought would be fairly even, basically, which I think is correct. I don't think that's yeah, Rook B8. I mean, Black doesn't have any problems here really. But okay, I was expecting E6 here, to be honest. I think Knight E7, King H8, which looks pretty even really. Black played E5, quite sharp. Knight B5, Bishop G4. Rook DC1, Knight D2. Yeah, this is pretty sharp. Probably, yeah, this is probably quite good for Black, I think. But Mark played Rook C2, E4, Rook C1, Knight F3 check, King G2, and now Knight E5. So Black's keeping on attacking here. Knight takes A7, giving the A5 pawn, A7 pawn away. Bishop F3 check, King G1, Knight D3.
It's nice having that bishop. Oh yeah, these Black
Rook F1. So Rook
threatening.
F8, A4, and then Rook B2. Okay, yeah. If you go Rook
Black's got active pieces, White's got a passed A pawn.
Yeah, I mean, I would have thought something more like Rook B3, to be honest, with Black. And then put the Rook on B3, and then afterwards it can go behind A3 if the A pawn advances. And I would have thought you'd be playing something like H5, H4, and trying to open all that up. It's a very complicated position. I mean, so we'll have a look. But Rook B2, takes. I'm sort of wondering. This A pawn suddenly looks quite
Yeah.
quite worrying to me, and I'm wondering how you're going to stop that. Knight d3 played. Okay, but if I go knight, yeah, okay. There's going to be God. There's going to be all sorts of tactics here, aren't there? So if I go a6, you could probably go knight c5.
Lusonia says black needs a knight on h3, which is true. That would be checkmate.
He does indeed. I'm guessing that after a6, we can play knight c5, and then that would pick up the probably pick up the a6 pawn. Though I'm not certain of anything in this position.
You could defend it, couldn't you?
Well, how?
Bishop, say. Bishop here.
Yeah, we've got bishop e2 always. That's the thing. And then I'm hitting the pawn on a6 and the rook on f1.
Yeah.
I mean, the other idea for white would be to play. Well, I mean, I've got a couple of nice ones. I could play knight c8, for example, which appeals to me enormously.
Clearly, black can't do that because of check.
Yeah, so you go knight e5, for example, and then I go knight. Probably I go knight ce7, king f8, and then I go a6. And let's hoping I've calculated this right. If you go knight takes c6, I go knight takes c6, rook takes d5, and then a7, and then you can't stop the a pawn.
Because the knight's covering that square and that square that the rook could use.
Yeah, I mean, even if the rook could go to d8, I could go knight b8, you know, so that's so I don't know. I'm not sure, but I have the feeling that this looks promising for Mark. I really have the feeling that there's or I have the feeling that black's on knife edge, put it that way. And Mark's
okay. Crowd's asking for Arkle Adams.
Ooh, I'm not.
So he did do this bishop c5 thing. We got f6, didn't we?
Yeah, but he's played g4, king h1. This is
bishop c5, king h1.
Yeah. The thing is, you know, well, we've seen enough of these with AlphaZero, haven't we? That, you know, it's very worrying. That pawn h3 is really worrying with the
this king has no squares to move to.
That's right.
And
that's
so
why
mated here and here and here and along the diagonal.
It's why I was thinking of playing king f2 to f3. You know, just get ahead of that threat. So queen d6 was played, rook ed2, and now. The question is...
can the queen just come into f4 or something?
Well, I think black's definitely got some sort of perpetual, right? Probably, or...
black's going for a win.
Yeah, of course, but, you know, let's be... we've got to be realistic as well. Just having a little think here. Before pf2... Not clear. I mean, queen f4 is the obvious move, right, for black. That's. But then there's a couple of not particularly clear points. So if d takes c5, then I would have thought that queen f3, king g1, queen g4 check is just a draw. I can't imagine that you can get out of perpetual check here. You know, I mean, seems very unlikely to me.
So here,
three, yeah.
Here.
Queen g4 again.
I wonder if black can do anything better.
Yeah, I don't think so. I thought originally that you should be able to do something better, but I'm not convinced. I'm not really sure how that happens.
Check.
Yeah. I could even go rook f2 in this position. So yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, the other thing is that after Queen F4, I've maybe got Rook F2 as well, which shouldn't be discounted.
Rook F2 here.
Yeah, and after Queen G4, I go Rook G1. So obviously DC, I've got Rook D1, but I go Rook G1, and then I'm going to go D takes C5. So, White's winning there. So I'm not sure. Yeah, Queen F4 doesn't seem to really do the biz. It's an odd move, Queen D6, though. I have to. Oh, they've agreed a draw.
Oh, it must be a perpetual then.
Well, I don't know. Did Mickey offer a draw after? Let's have a look. Can you have a look at the game?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he just offered a Rook F2. Oh, they repeated. Bishop B4, Rook F2. Okay.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think maybe Keith missed a trick there by putting his king in the corner there. I think he could have moved it up and got ahead of that, and I think he had an advantage there. But okay, great game. Well played, everyone. Oh, Peshka's a great.
So they've both had 2 draws so far, haven't they, in the tournament? Right. So they're kind of, they've got to match each other's scores now for the rest of them. That's Peshka.
Indeed, he has won that game against Chris Duncan.
Yes.
So, we saw B4, 15B4. That's where we saw the
15B4.
Exactly. So Knight A4 was played.
Yes, this was this. Yeah. This was short of time.
Yeah, Queen D7 was all what I was vaguely looking at here, but Chris went there. But this is but then White was just exchanging off the queens there. Well, actually, come to think of it, this is not so bad for. This was not such a bad solution, but I think that Chris probably got quite short of time here, where you can see he's only got 1 minute left. I mean. Well, this knight on G4 is a bit awkward, isn't it? It's actually Rook D1. Yeah, I mean, White's just a bit better here, which is rather annoying if you're short of time afterwards. And, Peshka playing with a great deal of tricks and trickiness, really. And then this was gone. I think it was, it was just good practical play from Peshka there, I think, and really just... just taking a practical decision and then putting all the pressure on Black, and I think that was quite
okay. Let's see.
Nut flush. So nut flush is indeed pressing, but White holding on grimly. And always the slight danger here for Black is that you push, and then afterwards, maybe you don't quite succeed. And then White just has the 2 bishops and is a little bit better. So there's always that little danger in the position there. I mean, Black's played very actively here, but I'm not quite sure how he's going to take the next step.
Maybe he wants his bishop over here.
We're going to get hit by E4. That's the problem. That's the move that's going to get us. I mean, maybe we should be looking for knight D3 just to get that bishop really active. It's possible. Bishop takes. It's not so silly. I mean, if I go knight D3 and then you take it, I play bishop D1. Then I'm threatening knight B1 just to. Or even bishop to B1 just to shut out that rook on A1 from anything. So that might be the active way to do it. Okay, G5, but I'm a little bit worried about bishop E1 now, I have to say.
Bishop straight back here.
Yeah. So. Well, no. In all fairness, there's no actual threat yet because. Where's that? No, there is. Bishop D2, Rook D8. There's Rook A2. So you go Rook D8.
Maybe we Rook D8 already.
Yeah. We'll go Rook D8 already. And then I'll go Bishop C2, I think, maybe. And Bishop C2. It's all a bit grovelly. I mean, I'm not. I'm certainly, not claiming that this is. But I'm also not. I mean, could I even go instead of bishop c2, which is completely possible? Could I also go rook a2? Actually, oh no, sorry, knight c4 is.
We've got some kind of tricks, haven't we?
Yeah, knight c4. Sorry, I thought I missed that the bishop on a6 is protected. I can't go bishop e2. Silly. So just bishop c2 then. I think we'll go.
Yeah, because our knight really doesn't have squares.
No, and I'm going to come in with king f2, and I'll maybe go rook a2, threatening bishop d2, bishop h7. I'm not sure. I've got b4 coming in as well to chase the knight back. I'm a bit worried, to put it that way. I'm a bit worried about.
Sonia's coming up with a line for Mickey. So, should you want to have a quick look at that?
Yeah, great. Let's have a look. Because Will Sonia is toast powered.
So we were looking at. I don't know if it still has our analysis before, but we were looking at queen f4 in this position, weren't we?
Yeah.
And Will Sonia's saying, so rook d2, queen f4, dc, rook takes,
queen takes, king g1. Oh, you want to take all the pawns, do you, Will Sonia? Oh, c3.
Because if queen takes, we go
queen d5 check here. Queen d5 check here.
A queen d5 check takes c2.
Oh, Will Sonia, gold coins on the board. Virtual gold coins on the board. Beautiful. What a line. What a line, Will Sonia. Queen f4, d takes c5, rook d2. Queen d2. Check king g1, c3. It works. It works. Wow, Will Sonia. Amazing. I suppose what you could do is.
But we weren't looking at takes on c5, were we?
Well, we suggested rook f2. Yeah, that was. Well, we looked at d takes c5 actually, and we said that it was a draw. So Will Sonia is refuting us there.
Okay.
We will forgive Will Sonia though, but he's refuting us. Yeah, but rook f2 was what we were looking at indeed. Queen d6, and then yeah.
I checkmate a lot.
Queen d6, and then yeah, you'd have to think about what you want to do there. I mean, the point, yeah. Nah, I think g4. Yeah, I think black's fine in this position. I think you just go back to d6, and probably it's a similar sort of repetition to what we saw in the game. You know.
Okay.
Rook fd2, and it just. I mean, you could do stuff here like g5, for example. You know, because with the queen on d6, there is a threat of bishop d4. Sorry, because bishop d4. Rook fd2, you go queen e5. So yeah, probably this is drawn by now. But I think if you brought the king out, it would have been better chances maybe. Okay, brilliant. Well done, Will Sonia. Well done. Excellent spot. All our jinxing of you has obviously paid borne fruit.
Okay. So, Diamond Naught, Frederick the mate, and actually when we left it, Diamond Naught was a couple of pawns up.
That's nasty. Bishop f4.
And he is still looking nasty. Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably just winning for white there.
Okay. Phil Brooks against not flush.
Still thinking. White's still thinking here. Right? Yeah.
But
I think the bishop e1.
Flush has offered a draw.
Whoa, sneaky. That's why White's thinking. Good.
Yeah. He's going to have a good
tournament tactics there.
Hebs against Tactic Monster. And so when we left this, we were looking at White's A pawn and thinking that was quite going to be hard to stop.
Yeah, but I'm not quite sure what Hebs is. Because he gave up the exchange there. But this doesn't look at all. This doesn't look at all.
So where were we? A5.
Yeah, so knight d3. Hebs went rook b1, which is also a sensible move. Knight c5. He used our trick knight c8.
Yeah.
King f8. Knight cb6. Bishop e2. And now he played this rook b5.
Okay. So he must be thinking the pawn is queening with that.
Yeah, but it's just not. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So he's threatening to come in on d7.
Yeah, but you just never. Yeah. You've got to draw at best here. I mean, with white, it's.
Hi, Theo.
Hi, Whimsical Jam.
Where did he go wrong? Matthew didn't like the opening too much because it swapped off queens and got the pawn structure a bit weak quite early.
Yeah, it's a matter of taste, you know. But that's. Yeah, I thought that was. I always think that 7d4 is a lot stronger in that line rather than 7 bishop e6. I think there was a game of Gelfand recently as well, but that was my. It was my idea originally, I believe. I think I was the first person who came up with it and analysed it. But I saw Gelfand playing a game with it. It was very, very dangerous. But it's just those sort of endings. I find them. It's easier to go wrong as black than to go wrong as white. Really, that's why. But very well played. You know, good draw, well held. So really well played, Whimsical Jam. Yeah, no, I think Mark's just in a bit of trouble here. So yeah, I don't know what to say really, but it's just there's no you can't force that pawn through. So should we have a look at a gunslinger?
Yes. Okay, so Jonathan Mackay.
So we've got some. Indeed. So black's doing a bit of a grindy here. In principle, you would have thought that the black's got very good chances here because I've actually just got rook a3 check, haven't I? Come to think of it. And then the only thing I've got to watch out for is that I don't get myself mated or forked. So I mean, rook a3 check. Because the funny thing would be if I went rook a3 check, king d4, rook takes f3, then you could go knight e3 check, which would be, or even better, knight h6 check. Sorry, knight h6 checkmate is the way, of course.
Checkmate. So black should not attempt this plan.
Indeed, but I think that if you just go after king d4, you go rook d3 check first, and after king c4, then you go rook takes f3. And this has the advantage that you're not getting checkmated, which I've always found to be an advantage. Yeah. So yeah, maybe now just the only thing you have to check after rook a3 check is whether the king can't go back to d2 and cause problems.
Oh, instead of king d4, king.
Yeah. So 48 king d2. But again, I could play rook d3 check. I've just spotted, and then rook takes f3. So yeah, this is just winning for black. So it looks like Gunslinger is going to add another notch to his gun. Let's have a look. Unagi, we've got another game still going there.
Yeah. Ooh.
Unagi, da-da-da-da-da-dum.
Queen for a rook and knight, but this is going to be good for the queen, you would think, as long as white doesn't get pinned.
There is a tiny little trapperoonie in there, but I mean, even rook f3 would be good because rook g8 allows rook h3 check. So that would be my my tip for greatness.
There we go.
But I mean, pretty much anything wins really. Queen h5 check picks up another pawn. Queen h6 check maybe is even better. King g8, rook f3.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much.
Okay, so we only have these 3 games going. Let's see, Hebs and Tactic Monster. Now, Tactic Monster's running very low on time.
Yeah, that's always Tactic Monster's problem there. That would be yeah, that would really be the best thing that he could, if he could fix that, then oh, wait a minute. Then that would be a huge thing, I think, in actual fact. It's very good to see juniors thinking such a lot. You know, that is very good. But you've got to watch out as well, of course, because now this is a little bit. Oh, wait a minute. This is yeah. Well, this is big problems all of a sudden. Knight c6 now.
Okay, and then if you take that knight, then this no.
Rooks are hanging. So I go knight c6, rook c8, knight b8, rook b8, a7, rook a8, knight b6, winning for white.
Let's do that.
So just knight c6. Rook somewhere. Knight takes b8. Rook takes b8, a7. Rook a8, knight b6. No, I take a queen, knight b6.
Yeah, with a check at the end.
With knight c8 check at the end. So it looks like Hebs.
Yes, Hebs is going to
has tricked his opponent. He's played knight c6. Yeah, Hebs will see this. This is
all right.
Wow. Yeah, this is looking very good.
Yeah, that's gone now.
I'm backing Gunslinger on this one.
Yeah, and this one
I'm also backing.
Going to be gone as well. Yeah.
Yeah, King G3 now would be the best, and then Rook H5 will be mate.
Yes. Okay. So we'll stick with Hebs.
Indeed.
Who's going to have a long think? Okay, so I'm going to just see if the results are up actually.
That's a really good one.
Yes. So we had that draw on top board to take Keith and Mickey to 4 points. And actually, we have some other people on 4. So Bogdan won his game to get to 4. Yichin Han also has made it to 4. And those are the 4 players on 4.
Yes, a tough old tight old tournament there, isn't it?
Yeah, and 3.5 is Paul Dargan, Ian, Johnny Payne, and Gerasimos.
Indeed. I'm just wondering whether Black can, maybe what Black can do is to go A7, then play the rook, let's say to H8. I'm not quite sure where the rook has to be. So let's play it to H8. Then you go knight B6. And then but I think my brilliant idea is not working. Nah, this is just winning, I think, for Hebs. So
okay, just like we saw before, you can't.
Oh well, wait a minute. No. Knight, because there's King C7, Knight takes A7, King B6 is still possible. Okay, I go Bishop C4 simply. King takes A7, Bishop F7. That's a winning bishop and bishop versus knight ending. But
Black's just. I think Black wants to stop the game now. Oh no, there's the fork.
Yeah, that's right. So Bishop C4 now. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Knight C8.
He's going to fork E6.
Yeah, but why? Okay.
So Hebs has chosen to have a knight rather than a bishop. But you'd probably prefer the bishop, right?
I thought the bishop was. Thing is, this way I brought the Black king back into play. So the king's back in the center there. Whereas if I took with the bishop, the king was on A7 and I was grabbing Black pawn. So I was sort of thinking that, well, I'm going to have about 3 or 4 tempi to bring my king up. This is not. I don't think this is winning.
Oh goodness. Okay.
Oh, it's very difficult. I mean,
he should maybe play H4.
Yeah, but
G4. He's going to bring his king out via G3, I guess.
yeah, but I mean, the thing is, we put a knight on D3, you know, and we're attacking that pawn on F2. You'll have to play F3 in order to you know, get rid of the. I don't know. I mean, it's just it just seems very complicated, this position. Whereas I thought, you know, I thought that going bishop C4 and having the king right on the side, and then we take the pawn and then we just bring our king in, you know, that was just going to be an easy win. But what you do have to say, though, is that black is very, very short of time. So, you know, this is going to be quite tough. But I think this is not a bad move at all, probably. It's a bit risky, but we're just going to bring the king round to bring the king round to E6, F5, play the knight to D3, and then White's going to have to really struggle to make something of this, I think.
What about G5 for White?
Yeah, king E6.
Yeah. Yeah, we probably don't. We could go knight H8, but
well, I mean, knight
H8
H8.
With our knight locked away, won't we?
I mean, knight H8 now is probably the most interesting of the possibilities, because after HG, knight G4, you've managed to bring this this pawn on G4 very close, so that could make it a little bit more tricky to defend. This is what I'm wondering about, because I'm going to go king. You go king G2, I'll go king E6. You go knight somewhere, and then I go king F5, and I'm in the zone, and then my knight's coming to D3. You know, because actually, if knight D8, I just go king D7. I mean, you can't. Your knight's not actually getting anywhere, so you have to go there, and now go king F5, and okay, now go knight D3 simply. You know, and I'm kind of, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
knight G3, king G3.
Yeah, okay, but knight E1 maybe then.
And then we can go knight F4.
Yeah, okay, but I go knight F3 then, or
now take on H.
No, yeah, sorry, I mean king G5 right. Or something. I don't know, but I'm not sure. I mean, it's just I just have the feeling that this is quite. I mean, maybe even yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, it's the last round, last game remaining. Round 5.
Yeah.
And it's Grandmaster Hebden against English junior Arjun Kalani.
Yeah, the interesting thing though is actually black was in Zugzwang there actually, crazily enough. Yeah, I mean, you're going to go knight F4. I go king G5. You'll go H4, and then I go king H6.
And then I'm going to find a way of attacking your E pawn.
Yeah, that. Problem is, as soon as I move my knight on F4, I go back to G6 with the king. That's the big problem. So.
And then.
Yeah, I mean, maybe king G5, H4 check, king H6, knight H3 is an idea. Because then I'm defending F2, and I'm threatening king F4. That's possible.
Should I put a board?
Yeah, I could put a little board up. So H4 check, king h6, then knight h3 here.
Okay.
So if you go king g6, and I've got king f4, and I'm covering. Yeah, I mean, the key thing, I could go knight f3 always. This is the idea, but I think this is you just accept this as as good as it gets, really. King e4, knight h4. I imagine that this is drawn just because you've got this passed h pawn, you know, that will tie down the knight. But this you know, this can be tricky. This can be tricky to deal with, I think. And it's not very. I mean, I'm assuming it's drawn, but it's not like it's, you know, like I know it's clear drawn. It's just I'm assuming that this is probably drawn.
All right, let's say f4.
Yeah, king f6 maybe.
Knight in.
Yeah, maybe knight f5, I suppose.
We have to drop our king back, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
f3.
Maybe give a check on h4.
Then we have to come back again.
I go knight g6. Maybe. Or I go king f5. King f5 maybe is better. I don't know. Well, king f5, we could go king g3. I mean, it's difficult, right? I mean, it's a very difficult ending, but you know, yeah. I would have thought, you know, my feeling is that the black should be able to use that h pawn to distract the pieces. But yeah, it's going to be a toughie. He's played it, and Mark thinking now. I think knight h3. Okay, knight d5. But now we can go king g6. I think. Knight d3. That's not so good. We go knight f6 now. That's losing. I think we needed to go king g6 to meet king f4 with knight d3.
Because White's going to win this pawn now.
Yeah, White's going to win the pawn now. White's going to play knight f6, for example. And after knight c5, go king f4. Oh, knight d3 check's going to hit him again. Ah, okay. But this is quite... how's that one going to be? That's going to be quite interesting. So we should go knight f6 now, I think. Knight c5, king f4, knight d3 check, and then king takes e4, knight f2, king f5. And this is quite... the black king's awful in this position. So that might be winning for White, actually, I think. I think that's winning for White. King f4, knight d3 check, king e4, and then king f5. So, because I think I can control the knight simply, you know, that, I mean, knight d1 would be the obvious one. If you go e4, then I'll go knight e3 check. That's the idea. Yeah, okay. Then I'll go knight g2 check. And then maybe knight e3. I don't know. I've sort of forced you back a bit, and my king's getting free. You know, I don't think I want to. I don't think I really want that. So after knight d1, what I could do is try knight d5. I just control you like that, and I'm going to go e4, e5. That's going to get dangerous very quickly. So should we have a look at the game again? Just have a quick look. Okay, so this is happening. And Mark's a good in-game player, so obviously he's got the you know, the weekend tournament end-game technique. So you know, he's used to winning. I would have thought he's used to winning these types of positions. He's got more time as well, you know. So I mean, I'm sure he didn't go for that. He didn't go for bishop versus knight because he was thinking it's the wrong color bishops for the rook's pawn, you know. So there are those sort of things. But I think I don't think you get that far. I think the king just whizzes in and you know, and you make it. But okay, king f5 now. I think Keith will play. Yeah.
Hebs.
Sorry. It's just thing and ending, and you just assume that it's yeah. So I think knight. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, e4, e5 is a really fast threat. you know, and I think that you really need to do something dramatic. You've got to shake this structure. If you don't give a check to the white king, then you're just never going to, then this pawn's just going to move all the way up. And when the king goes to g7, you take h5 with check. So I think you have to go knight d1 here with black, sorry. And then knight d5, we cover it. We don't let our structure get challenged. We go knight d5. And now it gets interesting, but
so the king can't particularly move because we'd go king g5 and just pick up this h pawn.
Yeah, I mean, if you go king g7, I'd probably go e4, I think. But when you do something like knight f2, for example, you know, you're no longer threatening to check. I go knight f4 simply.
So here.
Yeah, and then I'd probably go knight f4 here, and then just take your pawn. And if you go king h6, then I go e5.
Yeah.
And then I'm going e6 after. I mean, this is just really dangerous, this. So it's yeah, this is looking winning for white. We've been seeing some amazing tight end games, haven't we, between the old guard and the new kids on the block. It's
and so far the old guard have been doing all right in the end games.
Yeah, no, that's right. I mean, they've been turning it round, you know, in these end games. But it's tight. Wow, it's tight. You know, it's you really feel how good these young players are. If you have a look at the game, see what's happening.
This is it.
So what happened? King f5, knight d3. Okay, black went knight d3, e4, knight e1 was played by Arya. Okay, that is a good idea. The idea being that after e5, you go knight f3 takes h4. That was a very clever idea.
So Hebs comes back.
Oh yeah, that was a clever idea. Ouch. That was a really good find from black.
So what did he do differently? So we had
I was going knight d1 to try and get a check on e3. I was basically, you're trying to get at the h4 pawn, and I tried to do it by d1 e3 g2, but I was getting control. Yes. But Aryan played e1 d3.
He's on d3, didn't he, first?
Yeah, he went knight d3, and then after e4 he went knight e1.
Yeah.
And that was and then you're bouncing around g2 h4. Yeah, that was very clever. That was very clever. So Mark's trying to stop him now, but this is
actually the knight's out now.
The knight's out now, and king g6. Yeah, knight f4. He'll just go king h6. Ooh.
So is this just a draw now?
Well, I'm wondering how you make progress here with white. It's very hard because well, the one good thing is
pretty neat mark in the ending. Okay, yes, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to give some checks here. Can we Zugzwang? We can definitely do some stuff with a bit of Zugzwang. I was wondering whether you should go king f3 and after knight e5 check, go king e2. Maybe was that more subtle? Not clear.
I think Hebs is going to come round.
Yeah, no. This was better what Hebs did. That was actually the triangle. But I think what we do now, we're going to go knight c4, check, king d4, and then knight d2. That's what we're going to do. After e5, we go knight f3, check, king d5, knight takes h4. We go king e4, knight h4, e6. But that's not working, is it? I don't think so. This one's interesting, just stopping the...
So now we go knight d3, don't we?
Well, the problem is then the king comes in. The black king gets free. So
king g6, king f4.
Yeah. You're going to have to do it, whatever. But Not clear. Okay, king f4 now. So then you go king f4, king f6. Well, I guess you go e5 check. Then afterwards you come with king e4.
Yeah, because the king will have to either go back to defend the h pawn or try and stop this e pawn. The only thing is, if we give away the e pawn for the h pawn, it might still be a draw.
Yeah, it depends a little bit where all the knight, but yeah. Okay, that's a clever move. I've got to say Black's defending it very well here. Because he's aiming for f3 all the time. So because playing king f6 was getting in, the king's getting in the way, but now if you go king e5, I've got knight f3. So he's sort of holding back the king. This is going to be very tough. I mean, he's on increments for years, and you know that that Mark is going to play this for forever.
Yeah.
You know, and this is the one thing that not the one thing, but this is one thing that the I'd say the weekend circuit gods like Mark and Keith, they're extremely good at. It's, you know, just keeping the position going, keeping you know.
Yeah, it can be equal the whole game, but then the Grandmaster can get the point right at the end.
Yeah, they trick you at the end, you know. I mean, it's yeah, I mean, that's part of the weekend circuit, you know, that's part of making all those points. So this is gonna be a tough one for Black to hold, but so far he's doing exceptionally well, I have to say. He's really finding very good maneuvers here.
All right, so can we? I'm looking at two different things. Knight f3, is that just a draw if Black takes?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. That should be a win. Simply knight f3 if you take.
So okay, so knight f3. Oh, he's gone king e3.
Yeah, I'll probably give a knight e6 check, and then your king will be forced back, I think. Probably, or a knight e2 check maybe is decent as well. So king e3.
Oh gosh, Hellraiser is looking at this on the table base at the moment, and there's often only a unique move that keeps the draw alive.
Is that really so? My goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. Now this one I'm not sure about, because this one's nasty knight d3, isn't it? This one's a bit nasty because we're threatening knight f4. And how are we dealing with that, actually? Are we going to have to put our king back on g6? Maybe. Knight e7, that's not right, is it? I go knight f4 now.
Oh, and you can't defend the pawn.
Well, no, the point is you're going to go king f7. That's the idea. Knight f4, king f7, and after knight h5, you go knight g6. That's the point. But you're now very passive indeed. And after knight f4, king f7, maybe we can just do something clever and subtle. Like
e5.
No, no, that's loud. Knight f5 check. No, when I was saying clever and subtle, I meant something like king d3, for example. Just stay out of range, and or king f3. Ooh, is that? I don't think that's right. I think knight f4 was pretty good, you know. Oh, was Black going to go king e5, knight h5, knight g6? Yes, he was. He was. Yeah. Okay. Knight g6, knight f3. Probably okay.
Knight f3 looks quite nice for a knight.
It's just a bit passive. King d4. King d6, e5, king e6. What are we going to do? We can't go.
Flush.
We'll go king e4, won't we? Yeah, so knight f4 feels like the best one. Just get the knight a bit active, and you'll have knight g2 threats.
Did nut flush miss anything? Do you remember? You were better with that.
Nut flush, nut flush. Oh, with Black. Yeah, I didn't see anything. You were pressing all the time, but it was yeah. We didn't see it when we looked at it. We looked at it for a little while. We didn't see anything clear or anything. Okay, this is getting quite crucial now because I think this has gone wrong.
Really way too bad. I'm assuming black's been on increments since move 6.
Yeah, well, more or less actually. The problem is now that King C5 allows King E4. So I think that this has gone wrong now.
Gone wrong for who?
For white now. I mean, King C5 allows King E4. If you move your knight to G5, I'll go knight G6, E6, and then I guess King F6, which I think is just a draw. Because King D5, I go knight H4. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is a draw now.
Yeah, and you could say white can try and maneuver a bit, but it's actually hard to even just maneuver a bit now.
It's hard to maneuver now. Yeah, playing E5, I think, was a big. Yeah, that was something that probably should have been avoided. Quite seriously.
So we can't come back to E3 because knight G2 is going to. Oh no. So say we go King E3.
Knight G6.
So again, knight E6.
G6.
G6. Yeah. Yes. There's not much possibilities, is there now?
No. I think it's all gone wrong, I'm afraid. Mark's spending all this time here, but I think, I can imagine it's a table-based win, but exceptionally complicated for. This is the best try, I think, but I think we go knight G6 now. Yeah. All
right. So then E6, King F6.
Yeah.
And otherwise, we have to just go back to F3. Then King F4, and we just
probably. I think you're already drawing. So I think there now King F6 is the move. Yeah. Have to say, I think Black's endgame play was pretty good. Was really pretty good. I mean, you can also, after. I think, Black was probably winning and then blundering and then holding it together like that. I think it's very impressive. So knight takes H4 here now is fine. I mean, probably even actually knight F4, King D6 takes on E6 and King F5, I think is also working, but this is obviously clearer.
So Heb should just offer a draw before anything else happens.
Heb should just yeah. Well, I mean,
no, wait. So King E7.
Yeah, King E7 here. Knight G3, Knight G6, probably.
And then we can go Knight H5.
Yeah, Knight F8 then.
Knight F8. There's not much to do then.
No, and if Knight F5 check, I go King F6 simply. So, I don't think there's much to do now. Should make the draw now and live to fight another day. Yeah, Knight G6 is the safest now. Yeah. Very solid.
The safest
very solid play from Black on increments here. Knight F8.
Yeah, amazing.
Well, really, you've got to say.
Shows good patience, doesn't it?
Excellent.
Accurate.
Excellent. I just say the other thing you'd say is maybe try and work a bit on the time handling. Give yourself a bit more time for so that you're not trying to put away a Grandmaster on increments, but you're doing it with more time on your clock, and then that just makes probably a couple of 100 elo points difference long term. Really. But excellent. I mean, great character, excellent play. Hard luck, Mark. Really well fought. Tried everything and came very, very close.
All right, so we are back tomorrow evening for round 6 of this tournament, and actually there's another stream. John Ems and Chris Ward are around, and I think it's 10 a.m. tomorrow to look at the juniors and seniors. I think I have that the right way around. And so join us 10 a.m. For John and Chris for junior and senior tournament, and then 7 o'clock tomorrow for more of the championship.
Indeed.
Okay, some great games today. Thank you all very much for watching.
Thanks very much.